Good evening, everyone. We are here. We are having fun. We actually have quite the announcements to start the show with. Because for those who weren't here last week, Jay, should we tell them what all happened?
Oh, the story that it is. The story that it is. Peter and Jared were discussing on Twitter after Peter jumped into a Red's Twitter thread, I think it was, if I remember correctly.
Either Red or Steve, one of the two.
I think it was Red. They were talking about Steve, which then brought up. Yeah. Anyways,
It was Reds. Yeah.
anyways, after several back and forths, where the only live stream that I found that he was referencing on AT2 Productions channel, because he brought up the fact that Jared was making fun of the Christchurch massacre just a day afterwards. Um, which we'll get there. I asked him for proof. He eventually sent me a clip yesterday. It was a 52-second clip of a live stream that did not show what he said it was. He was taking out of context the situation. He was using his hate boner for Pig and Jared to make claims that were almost as wild as some of the flat Earth claims out there.
It's pretty comical.
Yeah. So after getting his video and showing Jared the screenshot of the background, he's like, "Oh, that looks like a pig video, from the good old days of the Piggy Shit Show." To which we narrowed it down to exactly which one it was. It was unlisted, and Jared, if you go to my video called Public Apology that was just posted today, you'll find out why, unless Jared decides to share it now if he chooses to. But I pulled out the section, not just that 52-second clip that Peter had, but I went on for what? Probably a good almost 6.5, 7 minutes past that for context points. Just to kind of show that it's just to show what was being talked about. Now, as I said in the video, Pig did sound a little giddy at first about it wasn't what I expected it to look like. But that's
I
Pig's
remember
way
that
of
day.
asking questions, You were there for about, and so was Alan. Jared, obviously, so was Radical. But anyways, I basically thoroughly put him in his place, and he made a comment on my video. Shall I share it for everybody?
Go for it.
Go for it.
Let me know if I need to blow it up for you.
A little bit, just to make sure for the audience.
A little more, or is that good?
A little more. There. That'll work.
There we go. Yeah, it looks like I got a new subscriber now too.
Who's gonna read it out loud?
You know what? You read it, Pig.
Exactly.
I can't do a fucking Peter voice. Hold on, let me get a dick in my mouth. Okay.
You didn't already have one?
No.
No, it
Watch
was in
it
his
until
hand.
you put Jared on. I have no need to hear the asswipe talk his way out of this. He had his chance. It's a shame that people can say stuff like this while the victims are still above ground. I guess the idiocy of what should be considered free speech is at the root of this. I hope people will notice there was no compassion for the dead. Nothing, not a single word. To me, the people in the video are pure scum, and so are those who watched it and said nothing. I hope none of you will ever be fucking
Confronted.
hold on. I can say this word. Confronted. Did I get it right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. With a video that shows the brutal slaying of a close relative, a father, mother, son, daughter. Although they may shake you out of your self-righteous bubble you seem to live in, I accept your apology, Jay. The apologetics on behalf of the people in this video I reject. I stand above trash like that. Peter. My mouth tastes weird.
Salty.
A bit, yeah.
Breathe.
So what was the original claim again? Like, what was he trying to claim? Because
That
I've
we
heard several people try and make a claim similar to this.
all right.
No, it's
Yeah,
always
I'll
From
pull
been
up the
that
Peter.
video.
notifications. Give me just a sec.
Yep,
I'll pull
yep.
up the thread specific. Scrolling through R&D. That was the next day. Okay. So this is where I joined in.
Oh, he made fun of them.
Yeah, supposedly.
Just a day after. Oh, fuck, I gotta get the dick back in my mouth. Last video of yours I watched was the one where you made fun of the Christchurch massacre just a day after. How it was a waste of time watching it, being strained because you didn't see rain matter flying. You're not worth talking to. You're scoundrel, my look.
Okay. Now, if you go to my video, you'll see who actually starts talking about watching the live stream and how it didn't meet their expectations. It was the person who just had the dick in their mouth. Now, I wasn't trying to make apologetics or anything for the rest of them. But I did say that, if you know anything about Pig, if you know anything about the way he acts around things like that, you'll see how the rest of the panel reacted to it. So
Yeah,
um,
and I specifically remember that, and I've watched it a couple times since then. I think there was no making fun of, there was no point and laugh, and yeah, you're exactly right. That's how Pig asks a question. He was pointing out something. I've never experienced this before. I've now experienced it. It's not what I was expecting.
exactly.
And as a
So
matter of fact, as the conversation went on in talking about just the availability of the live stream of the horrendous actions that took place. Hear that, Peter? I called it a horrendous action, and I mean it, because legally, by the United States law standards, I cannot advocate for it to be gotten rid of and wiped from the record. However, my ethical and moral standards says that shit is deplorable and should not be viewed by anyone. I guess you missed that part.
yeah.
Can I talk freely here, Jared?
Has that ever stopped you before?
No. Peter, something I'm gonna give you a tip on. Just as your previous bogus claims against me
Not
that
the
you
tip that
tried
was just in
to
your mouth,
attach.
right?
No, not that dick. So one of the things that you need to work on is when you try to come up with something and push for something, make sure it's factual. This is one of the reasons why it didn't work when you tried to attack me. This is one of the reasons why it did not work when you tried to lie and attack Sai. So as far as I can consider, there's a massive penis for you to suck on, and it's rating right here. So come on, Peter, come get licking.
Well, I mean, my biggest thing was that he initially, based on all the information that we had Friday when me and Jared and Peter were going at this, he was insinuating me based upon a live stream that we were having for VTW, literally
It
what
was.
would be considered the day of, but actually for us, it's more like almost 24 hours after the event.
Yep.
In
It was more than
VTW.
that, wasn't it?
No, it happened on March 15th.
And when was the video?
New Zealand. In New Zealand.
It took place the morning of the 15th in New Zealand. So by time we went on air, it was already the morning of the next day.
Okay.
And
I don't remember it being that soon after.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was.
here's the thing. I that was my initial thought was it was that stream. It was only when I got Peter's clip that I realized it wasn't that, and that it was actually on the 18th, which would have been what, a Tuesday, I think, for a piggy shit show.
Sounds about right.
No, it was a Monday, but still,
Was
that's
it
not exactly
Yeah.
the day after.
No, it was a few days after.
And that was my thing on why I needed to. Well, one, I needed to apologize because he did not actually insinuate me, and I actually owed him that apology. So, and I will stand by that apology. I owed it to him. The issue that I had with him going forward is the fact that he's trying to characterize something that didn't actually happen, and I was able to show that, you know, and he's not too butthurt. He's a little too butthurt about it. But let's go to the all important part that he skipped. How about that, Jared?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's share it for everyone.
Although I prefer everybody to go watch this video later, but
Well, here's the thing. Get the link. We'll post it in the live chat. People can go watch the entire video in its entirety. But Peter, this is for you. Here's the part you skipped over.
hold on, let me post that. Video. All right. And right before where I segue over to you, Jared. So volume up. Actually, unmute, I should say. We will actually let him say why this particular stream has been taken down and why it is no longer listed. So, Jared, over to you.
Oh, Peter. Like a poor marksman, you just keep missing the target. It's almost like you have such a compulsion to be wrong that you can't even come close to being right. I don't know what you thought you heard in that video, but holy crap, dude. Let go of the hate boner. Really. It's unbecoming of you. And for those who are wondering, the video that the clip came from, it wasn't publicly available because there was no need for it to be. Not everyone needs to know what's going on in the background. And here's the thing. I make no apologies for what I said. Because as you heard, we were addressing a specific topic that was questioned, that was brought up between what was seen and a flawed expectation. We corrected it. We didn't make light of the situation. We just directly answered the question at hand. What's so wrong with that, Peter? What is so wrong with answering questions directly and honestly? Maybe you should work on that. That whole honesty bit might get you somewhere.
Thank you, Jared, for your input there on why the video is taken down. And just for a little bit of shits and giggles, here you go.
Oh, Peter.
Oh.
Can't provide the evidence. Muting you now.
Oh, that one.
Go fuck yourself, Peter.
And there we have it.
Hey, you stole that from me, Jared. The whole "go fuck yourself" bit at the end.
Your point?
You didn't copyright it.
Damn it!
Yeah, I'm pretty sure "go fuck yourself" has been a thing for millennia.
Yeah. In some language or another.
Language of the world.
I may or may not have lost a microphone.
Stand up.
And spread your butt cheeks.
Oh, there it is.
There you go. Oh, you might want to wipe that off first.
No, he won't.
So
Yeah, or Lakehead, depending on what his fancy is. But
So
I can't
there-
believe I just said that.
there is one other thing that I would like to put out to the audience that I would like you guys out in the audience to spread around and make sure that everyone's aware. If anyone anywhere is saying anything about me, Jared, AT2 Productions, if you have any questions about what they are saying, feel free to reach out to me, whether by email or Discord message or comment on one of my videos. I may not have the time or notice the message to reply right away, same day, but I will get back to you. So if you have questions, that's why I'm here. I have nothing to hide, and I'm willing to talk about anything. So if you have questions, bring them on.
So I just happened to refresh my Twitter homepage and found this tweet. I have to share it with everybody. Jared, you don't mind social justice warriors coming after us, do you?
Oh, not at all.
I figured you wouldn't.
Oh,
What the?
Oh.
The Queen
Is
Troll
Lady-
herself.
Is Lady Gaga, if it's the real Lady Gaga, an SJW?
No, she's not, and that's the beautiful thing
Okay.
about it.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Just gonna leave that right there on my page for now. So
Okay, who's the guy in the mirror? Some random dude? Or...
Well, it's
That's-
probably her manager or one of her assistants.
Oh, yeah, probably. Nice.
Either that or a friend of hers who found it, saw it, took a picture of it, and sent it to her.
oh god. Okay, so it was Undoomed who first shared it that I got it from.
Nice.
The quality
Available in
choice, by the way.
stores near you soon.
By the way, Furball, I was half expecting you to pipe up with something when I shared that section from Jared.
What
At
about-
the beginning? At the beginning of Jared's section of my video.
What did he say? Remind me.
Oh no, it's what Jay said about you.
No. I'm talking about what you said, Jared, to start your video. Why he didn't pipe up, because he should have. Especially with, I believe, the topic for tomorrow.
Oh. Yeah, you know
How
what?
did you say-
I was gonna ask how many people caught that. You know what? Hang on a second.
Yeah, I completely missed it. But I'm also pulling a piggy right now, and I'm
Okay.
playing a video game.
Okay. So I started out, oh, Peter. Like a poor marksman, you just keep missing the target.
But anyways, so Undoomed. Oh my God, Lady Gaga, how could you? Totally be, because he's awesome. Scribe Light.
Oh.
Oh.
See, this is why I have been a fan of Undoomed ever since I first found him. How many years ago? 4 or 5 now?
Yeah, I'm late to the party, man. Cut me some slack.
It was actually it was actually his his series World of Batshit. That was the series that really introduced me to him, and I was like, oh, this guy is fucking awesome. I love his delivery, and the way he eviscerated the topic was masterful.
And
What the-
also his "We've been over this" sound clip is horribly underused. I haven't even seen it once anywhere else but his channel.
Oh, or what
it
about?
should be a meme.
Oh no! The one that I love from him is actually what I started doing every now and then on movie
asshole,
night.
fucking asshole.
No, well, it wasn't asshole, and it was John Malkovich. But yeah, it's rather uncouth. I won't say it right now because you know what? I'm in too much of a good mood. And by the way, Pip, if you have a picture for me to play with and paint, we can. So did anyone see that on Alan's earlier? No.
wait, Alan's a YouTuber?
Alan, you'll never be a YouTuber.
You know, it's funny you say
You're more
that,
of a
Pig.
YouTuber than you are, Pig.
Exactly.
253 subs and 6,000 watch hours in a month.
Now,
And here I
did you
thought
ever
you were in
finish
the
your
RAF.
script, though? Alan, did you ever finish
Oh,
your
no,
script?
no, of course I haven't finished the script.
Exactly. You'll never be a YouTuber.
I found a different one.
Oh, I have a Lady Gaga fan following me now.
Nice.
Yeah, not followed by anyone you're following. Yet they have 4,338 followers.
What video
Or
game
no.
are you playing, Furball?
18.5K
Mario
followers. Interesting.
Weirdo.
I can
I
talk
have a,
that. Paul.
I have a Switch.
I had a weird dream that I forced my dad to purchase me a Switch, and I have no idea why. It was just in a dream, and he was climbing ladders and hanging from stuff.
I would also like to know why. It's a Nintendo. The only good thing that Nintendo ever made was the N60, well, the model before the N64 and the Game Boy. That's it.
Well,
What
because
about
I have
NES?
access to half the old archive to include the original Mario's.
For the Shift?
What's that?
For the handheld?
Yeah. Well, no.
Switch?
So on the Switch, if you pay for the online service, then you get a bunch of, it's like 40 or 50 old games right now, to include Tetris, Tyson's. Actually, sorry, not Tyson's Punch Out, just regular Punch Out. What else is on? A bunch of them I've never heard of. Ninja Gaiden, Double Dragon, a bunch of the old classics.
Or you could just buy a $50 Nintendo Classic.
I could, but I can't play my children on Super Mario Kart with the $50 Nintendo Classic. With this, I can.
Here's a question, though. The Switch, are you able to buy a game and download it and actually keep a physical SD card or whatever, keep a physical copy of it? Or do you have to get it online every time?
What do you mean?
You can buy physical copies of their games. They have their own card system.
Yeah, I think it was Sony PlayStation, where they've been trying to move away from optical drives for optical media for games and try and get download them instead. Is it?
You can do either. You can do either with the Switch.
Just as with PlayStation, you can do either.
Yeah, but
now
I
a majority, like you will have to download a lot within updates, like 50 gigabytes or so.
Oh yeah, and patches and extra.
Yeah.
The
only games that I don't
Discord,
have physical are Minecraft, because they didn't have it local, and what else? I think that's the only one. And then the other ones like Fortnite, which doesn't come in a physical version anyways.
Okay, what is Lord Baird up to now?
Oh, this isn't Lord Bear. This is
It's Alex. I know. It's the same guy. So.
Oh, I know. No. It's the response to the tweet he's retweeting.
Hey, BM.
Yeah.
Hey, just go outside gate 1, go through the stoplight, go underneath the railroad tracks, hang a left, and you'll find all kinds of shit up in there.
Like what? What do you mean?
All that Nintendo shit. You go back up there. You go back up in there. There's all kinds of shit like that up in there.
Okay, I give her credit, but holy shit!
That's been her stick for like 2.5 years.
For the people in the live chat, sometimes this is why you need Twitter.
Twitter's cancer.
It really is. And here's the thing. From what we can see, she's not that bad looking, but if your message is so idiotic that you have to resort to this to get attention for it, you're doing it wrong.
I'm conflicted though. If
Guys,
Twitter
why is
is
California so
cancer,
messed
what
up?
would you call Facebook?
Tumor.
Yeah.
So,
Facebook is a time.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a
it's a
tumor.
black hole of yeah. What?
Not a tumor.
Guys, why is California so messed up?
Because it's run by Democrats.
No, it's
California
because
woman
they
who served
want
time in
so-
prison after she killed her sister in a drunk driving crash that she live streamed has been arrested again after a short
Yeah.
vehicle pursuit Tuesday.
Yep, that was all over the local radio station today.
I think California has a hard on for Florida, and they really want to be them.
They're trying.
No, it's the other way around. California is what everybody else is trying to be like. California is trying to be California's like, you think anything could be more fucking liberal? Well, hold on my beer is what California says, because California tries every fucking thing possible, and it only works around the fucking Bay Area and LA. But out here in the country, things don't work like that. So there's a big difference between parts of California. You get away from all the cities and shit like that. You got here in the rural areas. It's not like what you think it is.
No, I know.
I'm not sure I get the name correctly, but
I have a friend that
Cal
lives down in Clovis, so I'm well aware of the differences.
Yeah, I'm up here. I'm over here by outside Madera, up on the west slope of the Sierra, so I know very much about Clovis.
Yeah,
You might as well be Fresno.
Yeah.
California Fire, the state fire department or whatever it's called.
Cal Fire.
They recently made a major fuck up that has a big potential to endanger a lot of people's lives.
I work for Cal Fire, right?
Yeah, I do now. Well, it's not your fault.
No, go ahead. What do you got to say that I can maybe clear something up?
Yeah, so they decided. Well, some person or a group of people decided that ham radio is no longer needed for emergency communications anymore. So they don't want to support it anymore.
Well, I guess we never use it up here anyways. Everything up here is all.
That depends on where you are. I can imagine, in larger city areas, it's
No. Up here in the country, it doesn't work. As you get in these places up here on the western slope of the Sierras, you can't get any radio signal. It's all digital up in here.
Yeah, that's why the ham radio comes into place.
Yeah, but where we work at, unless you're down here on the western slope of the mountains, you can get ham sometimes. But when you're up in the mountains themselves, up in the San Juan, up in the drainages, up there by Yosemite, up there, and those kind of areas, ham radio signals don't get in there at all. Everything is all digital or satellite.
And how big is that area? Because you can still use NVIS. That has a range potential. Well, depending on the time of day, frequencies and etc.
Yeah,
it
but
has range about 300 or 400 miles.
Yeah, but the thing is, if I'm working in the middle of a valley, say not the Merced, what's the other one? The San Joaquin up here, up by Mammoth Lake. You're not getting any signal at the bottom of a fucking ravine with ham radio.
Well, that's the point of NVIS.
Yeah, but we don't use ham radio up in here anymore. We haven't used ham radio up here since I started working with these guys, and that was just before I went to Antarctica.
Yeah, I'll try and find the YouTuber that hooked me on to the news, and he showed a letter that was drafted by a lawyer, I think, showcasing exactly what the ham radio community, emergency community, has been doing, and how many people they've actually saved in rural areas, where the first thing to disappear every single time there's a fire is power, internet, phone, and those kinds of connections, and that includes the fire department's communications and the police communications.
I'll guarantee you right now, as somebody who's worked active fires up in this area, being a dozer line boss, we haven't had any drops in communications.
Yeah. And again, I can't
Because-
remember that city name.
Because
but,
when it starts getting really bad, if we have a really bad fire, like say like Paradise or the car fire, which is up by
Paradise. That's one of them. I remember that name.
Paradise or up by the car fire, we use aircraft as relays. They'll just sit there and hover and hover. They'll do their little orbits. But when it comes to but out here when it comes to rural, even on my property, I don't have ham radio for anything when it comes to emergencies. Everything I use is all digital. Because you can have because the cell towers, unless they get hit directly, they have backups on the cell towers up here for power wise.
Yeah.
So you still have so you can have a cell tower on the top of a hill surrounded by fire, and it'll still talk. But it's not. But by that time, everybody around that area has been evacuated anyways. Because I really don't need to know from here what's going up in Reading. I just need to know what's going Reading or Paradise or San Jose or Napa Valley. I really don't give a shit. I worry about around my area. The only time I worry about if I have to do that is if I'm taking my equipment and I'm going working up in those areas, then I patch into their system. But the ham radio thing, that hasn't been used officially by the state for a long time up in here. It's been digitally, it's been switched over to FM and AM and stuff like that. What the hell? I saw a map pop up on the screen.
But those are just modulations. But
yeah, but I'm talking about the systems we use.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I don't talk to any ham. Because when I'm doing things up here, I don't talk to a ham operator.
Yeah.
Only people I talk to is, the CIC, the OIC. Well, people who are in charge of around my district. I have direct communications with them through and handheld radio. Mostly like a big ass walkie-talkie.
No, I hate that term. That's a different.
I'm just trying to figure out a way to explain it.
Yeah,
because if something happens, or I get called up, or they need my equipment, like my right now, my dozer and stuff like that is up on the eastern. My dozer, my flatbed, my skidder, all my stuff is on a flatbed that Cal Fire is renting, and it's on the other side of the Sierras right now. But I get contact every day through emails and through text what's going on with my equipment, where it's at, expenses, damages, and stuff like that, stuff they had to repair, yada yada, and then I get paid eventually.
I totally agree that in many places there is no need for it. For example, all of Denmark, we don't need it because our infrastructure is secure enough. For example, so there's no need there, and I don't think we've ever had any MCOMs by hams, and of course you'll always find places that don't need it.
Yeah, but if they need it, it'll be, if it's needed, the community or the people in the area will still keep it up. But the state's not going to keep paying, and Cal Fire especially is not going to keep paying for their system that they've migrated past since then. Everything up in here is all digital now. I mean, I do everything pretty much by cell phone on site. I use radios like that on my pack. So if something happens and we get I'm about to get overrun or something like that, or my team's about to go run, we got to go into the shelters. I'll be using my radio. They'd be talking from inside the shelter, but once I come out, I'm popping up on the cell phone because I can talk a lot farther with the cell phone than I can with the radio. So I understand what you're talking about.
Radio, but yeah.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about. There's some areas that are here, they may or may not be having it, in the community or the little town or whatever they got going on, or say like the 13 houses that are all in this one little valley all may be using ham radio, but for the state of Cal Fire to maintain this and have operators who actually have to sit on this equipment, it costs money. And California is all about spending money on high-speed railroad tracks and shit like that.
Oh yeah, and I saw their prices for renting the space for a repeater, for example. That it's insane. For ambulance services, for example, it's ridiculous. I mean, that price is just wow.
Well, for example, it's like with me for my flatbed, my dozer, my skid steer, my wildfire kits, and all that stuff like that. The state of California pays me around $10,000 to $15,000 a month for it if they're using it. And if it's on my side, they got to pay for the equipment, and they got to pay for me to be there, be using it. So when it's on the eastern slope or far away, they take it. Basically, they rent my, quote unquote, rent my equipment. But if it's over here where I can be using it, then they have to pay me for my equipment plus the hours for me to operate it. And then if I'm operating it, they'll have people who work with me, and I become their dozer boss. So that's how it works up here. But right now, I sit about $13.25 a month, $13,025 a month is for rental of my equipment.
I'd like to have that. Oh, there's the voice.
Ooh, where?
Somewhere. There he is.
Hello.
But this season's been pretty quiet when it comes to fires. Pretty much all the fires have been up on the eastern side. Nothing really big has flared up except for down south by LA, and I really don't give a shit about LA.
No,
it can burn up.
Admit it. It's not that you don't care. It's you would be celebrating if the fire went even further in that area.
All that shit that happens down there in LA is because all the fucking back in the day when they're all about the hippies, but the environmentalists were all about you can't go up in there, you can't thin out all this shit, all this undergrowth, all these fuels and stuff like this. Fuels is what you call the grass and stuff like that the fires use. But they all the environmentalists like, you can't go up in this area, you can't thin out all these fuels, blah 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 blah. But we're just gonna keep building houses up deeper and deeper in these fucking in these ridges up into these chimneys and different kind of areas. And then when that shit catches on fire, it just fucking goes up like a fucking torch because it has all this fucking fuel that environmentalists wouldn't let people go up there and thin it out because environmentalists like, you just leave it alone, let nature take its course. But that was back in the day when nobody was living in these areas. Now all these areas are over fucking grown, and that's why fucking shit over here when it catches fire fucking explodes.
Well, it's a little like a bit like rich people wanting to build a house and they find a nice piece of green area, but unfortunately it's right next to a theme park. They build their house, move in, and then half a year after the theme park installs a new ride or something, and then these rich assholes start complaining about the noise.
Well, it's like people who build move in next to an airport and bitch about the fucking airplanes. It's the same fucking problem.
Bitch about the noise, yeah.
But here is but the thing here is it's so much, this is California. It's all about environmentalism. All this big time money that comes from the Bay Area. All these people who were hippies back in the 60s and now are all these big time lawyers. So they just basically say, like for Paradise and the car fire, all that shit was all fuels that by regulations you couldn't go out there and thin out. So it was just, 30, 40 years worth of brush growing up underneath these fucking trees, and they just took one little spark from for example, with the Paradise Fire, one little spark from a power line, and that just shit fucking went up quick, and that shit just fucking got, and it just, with the winds, it just gets really, really bad, really, really quick here. So it's all mismanagement of the environment up here, and might have been fine back in the 60s and 70s when not many people were living in these rural areas that now have become major metropolitan areas. But something has to be done about it, and it's starting to bite everybody in the ass up in here. That's why they got these. You got fires every year, but their fires are getting worse and worse when it comes to population areas because, like I said, the environmentalists will let people go up there and thin out these areas and get rid of all these we call it fuels, and get rid of all these fuels, so these bad things wouldn't happen. And now it's all starting to, the chickens are coming home to roost.
Mm-hmm. It's like people love living at beach fronts, and they want to live as close to it as possible. But you tend to also. It's a risk living in the most beautiful parts of the world because it's usually also a dangerous part of the world to live in.
For example, like around here in the off season, I would take my dozer and I go up and I cut around fire lines around people's property. So if we call it the quote unquote a defensible space, and it's usually about 100 feet from your house. You just basically get rid of all the fuels and stuff like that around your house.
Yeah, so 200 feet or something.
Well, we call it the 100-foot defensible barrier. You can push it up farther than that, but we like to keep it 100 feet. That way, if you have a hose or something like that, you can at least get a garden hose up to the area and kind of get. But you can always push that. You can always push that perimeter out. But I can. When it comes off season, I charge people $2,000 to take my dozer, just drive around their property and churn up all the dirt and make it all churn up all the grass and make it fucking dirt. But you got some of these people who just don't want their shit touched, and then like up in Paradise or even around here, it takes one little fucking match to come across this grass and it's all fucking over. And then they got their $500,000 house, but they didn't want to have a dozer guy turn up the dirt around their place for $2,000.
Or
they
lost
it. Yeah, and they were
in that area
to at least install a fire retardant system on. I don't know what it's called, a sprinkler system on their houses. I've seen those. I think it was in California, actually.
Well,
yeah, but then, like I said, everything here is fucking regulation. So if you want to put something simple on your fucking, I want to build on my property because I like the ranch house that I live in, but I wanted to build a container house up on a hill so I can overlook the valley and I can overlook everything instead of being kind of in this, not this hole, but my house, the ranch house I'm on, sits on top of a hill, but it's kind of, it's not the view that I want, but there's a ridge line a little farther up to my, I guess you can say my southwestish, a little higher than where I'm at right now. And I wanted to put up a container house up there. I wanted to buy some 55-foot containers and put them on blocks and, weld everything together and make it mine. And then I found out just to fucking get the permits was fucking, just the permits alone were $10,000. And then
I could pay for an application.
Yes, and then I couldn't. And then I couldn't. And the thing is, though, I have access to shipping containers. But the thing is, I have to use shipping containers that have quote unquote, they call them one-time use. Means the shipping containers are used for any more than one time, I can't use them for housing stuff. I can't use them to build a house, even though I'm going to gut them out. I can't use them.
What if you take one and quote refurbish unquote
you can't.
it?
You can't.
And then sell it as if it's a new one.
If I can technically take these things and put them on property and build it, but as soon as I get a housing inspector out here to do it, and he looks at the paperwork for the containers and sees that they were not single use, even though I have everything gutted, it's basically just a metal shell. I will not get my permit, so I can't get electricity to it.
So
I can't get water to it. Well, I got my own. I use well water out here. I'm not hooked up to anything except for power. But
that's just so stupid, man. It's
California.
That's a great way of doing your little bit of doing your own little thing to help save the environment by reusing stuff.
Yeah, but this is California.
But
this is California. Everything in California has to be fucking micromanaged, regulated to fucking death. And it just that's the reason why I can't. That's the reason why I can't wait till spring when I'm moving up to Alaska, so I get away from all this fucking craziness.
Yeah. And by the way, here, most of of the different types of applications for building stuff as a private person, or civilian, whatever. Here, everything is free. All the applications and so on.
So Sean, what do you got going on?
Well, first, I'm just surprised that Geis is still in California or wherever, but he's going back up to the cold where he's gotten used to over the last 2 years.
Where I'm moving to is Kodak, Alaska. That's where I grew up at. To me, I'm moving back home.
Oh, so you've always been used to the cold. Okay, I won't hold that against you then anymore.
I love it. The thing is, I've learned when I was being in the army and everything else. When you're cold, you can always get warm, but when you're hot, it's very hard to get fucking cool again.
Exactly. That's why I love Denmark.
Well,
but as far as what I got going on, I had to spend $20 I didn't want to spend today to order a plastic magnifying glass because, Anthony made the claim about his little experiment he's wanting to do with the magnifying glass on the moon.
Oh, you mean the one you totally shot to hell already?
Well, yeah, because, the magnifying glass that he showed on his little joint holder thing, his little paraphernalia thing, it was a glass magnifying glass because it had a metal ring around it. Plastic ones don't. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of why I did the video, because Astronomy Live told him that it wouldn't work. So I demonstrated that it wouldn't work. And then all of a sudden he's telling other people, oh, it's a plastic magnifying glass. one, it's not, but two, I'm going to shoot that bird down too because I just ordered a plastic magnifying glass just to shoot that down as well.
It doesn't fucking matter. What the hell?
For infrared, yes, it does.
Well, I mean, as long as it works, physically, it doesn't matter what type of material you use. You could use clean wrap and fill it up with water to make a magnifier. I mean,
Yeah, there are a lot of ways to do it. And by the way, I'm just going to take this moment right here to say, Shroomy, no one here hates you. If they did, they wouldn't be picking on you.
But to rule out the magnifying glass entirely, I actually got a chrome magnifying mirror just to rule out the glass or plastic passing through light entirely and just get a straight out IR reflection onto the target to see if the moon is actually cooling things off or not.
Oh my fucking god!
So I've got them covered on 3 aspects here. Well, 4 technically. That's the camera itself.
Yeah, I can't remember the material that's used for thermal imagers. The optics for that, but I'm pretty sure you can get Sorry.
Germanium.
Yeah, that's one of them. There's 2 more, I think. But anyway, I'm pretty sure that you can also, if you have the money, it's expensive like hell probably, magnifying glass, but with for example, the germanium.
Yeah, that would be all kinds of expensive.
Oh yeah.
This is why I wish I was still in active duty in the Army on a Bradley, because I would just go to the fucking motor pool, get in the fucking Bradley, fire up the fucking turret, turn on the fucking thermals, and just point it at the fucking moon at night on the staff duty. Because the thermals cool down to minus 200 degrees. So yeah, and if the thermals are not FLIR, they actually detect the actual physical heat of something being given off. Yeah,
that's one thing a lot of people need to understand is that there's a difference between FLIR and thermal imaging. FLIR is an active IR thing. It actually sends out infrared light and waits for a reflection.
I didn't even know that.
Passive is where you get your thermal. Passive is where you get your thermal imaging cameras, which is just waiting for light to come to them.
FLIR is active. What the? It's just forward-looking infrared. Forward-looking infrared. It's not. No, come on.
Like this, the thermal side on a Bradley. When you turn it on, this makes kind of like repetitive clicking noise that goes sound like this. It's a fucking
there's a compressor in there, to cool down the sensor to make it more sensitive.
It goes down.
This camera clicks about every 3/4 of a second. The little bit I got.
That's because it's a solid state one, and it's it's one of the cheaper ones. I can't remember the technology, but it's quite a lot cheaper. Also lower resolution, of course, but
I also got a 3.5 foot fire or lightning wire extender, so I can actually not mount it to the actual iPad itself, and I can actually now line up the regular camera on the iPad with the actual thermal camera, so I can actually get the side by side views.
Yeah, is it one of those Is it one of the cameras that has its own battery, or does it take it from through the cable?
It takes it through the cable.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, I want to
issues there yet, I guess.
See, I want to get a FLIR Scout 3 thermal camera, but I really wouldn't know what to fucking use it for, and I really don't feel like spending fucking.
I've actually been having a lot of fun with it, just doing random things, just because it's really cool to see the world in a whole new, pardon the pun, a whole new light.
Yeah, go right on the wall just using a dry finger, for example.
I actually have a video of that already.
The thing is, I just don't know if I want to spend. I just don't know if I want to spend $2,600 on something and to prove a point that I already fucking know is the point. So it's kind of
why you need a contact that has that stuff for work or something.
Well, the thing is, I got plenty of contacts at Fort Irwin. I can get a guy to go up into a Bradley and turn everything on, but he's gonna be like, "What's the point?" And I'm like, "Yeah, there's a guy who thinks the Earth's flat and the moon is fucking cool. So can you like turn the turret around and point it up at the moon at night when you're off duty and waste your fucking time?"
Yeah, but it probably can't show any distinctive temperature temperature differences.
Well, you just flip between white hot and black hot. If it's fucking hot, it'll come up. I mean, I can
for imaging hot stuff, hot motors, etc., and not colder stuff, and certainly not show the temperatures of it. Which is
for example, I can't with the thermal sign on a Bradley, I can't see inside windows. Windows just look like a fucking.
Oh yeah.
It depends if I have it on a white hot or black hot. It looks just like a fucking mirror. I can't see shit inside of it.
Glass and I are not a
glass.
thing.
Normal glass literally works as if it's a mirror when talking about thermal. But
now, I can see if they put their hand on it, but I can't see inside of things.
Glass itself, yeah.
That's one thing about like in Iraq when you're looking at people's windows with the Bradley sight, you can't see inside of windows. People are like, well, just look in there. We can, it's on the movies. You got these red and all these goofy colors. And you can see, it's like it doesn't fucking work like that on a Bradley. It's just the sight is red or black. The M1 Abrams is green and black, but on a Bradley it's red and black. So you can flip it between. They call white hot, black hot, but it's basically either red hot or black is hot. But you're trying to, looking for fucking bad guys in buildings, and they go inside a room that has a window. You can't see shit inside of it.
And by the way, I'm pretty sure what you talked about active thermal. You probably misunderstand the technology stuff. There's thermal imaging, and then there's infrared cameras where you can use infrared light to illuminate an area. That has nothing to do with thermal.
Wait. I want to make sure that I'm understanding, guys, for you correctly. What you're saying is that even regular glass is a thermal insulator?
Yep.
Ah, imagine that.
The only thing I could see on a fucking for example, if we have like a bad guy at a checkpoint and we tell him to put his fucking hands on the window. And my gunner could see his palms on the window, and I always tell him, if you see his little fucking palm prints disappear out the window, just shoot a whole bunch of fucking coax into that one little area. So just tell fucking Haji put his hands on the fucking window, and we'll just tell him to be a good boy until we get done checking shit. If he takes his hands out the window, he gets about fucking 50 rounds of coax. It's simple.
And John, you should probably try and use a regular piece of glass as a mirror for the thermal, just to mess around with it.
Well, that's the neat thing, because in my little thing using the TV and as the heat source and looking through the magnifying glass, you can actually see me in the TV reflected off the glass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also, I've used thermal imaging many times for repairing electronics. For example, a VCR, when they started coming out with hard drives instead of tape. And it's a heat problem, but you can't just, have the case open and look at it, because you have a fan in there and you need it. You need as standard as possible in terms of the airflow as well. So you could use clean wrap, or saran wrap, I think it's called. That works because you can see right through it with the thermal.
Okay, Bob. So super chat from C4, $10 US. Honestly, I have nothing to say except I love you all. Oh yeah, and Canadian bacon is just ham.
No, that's pseudo ham. Danish bacon is real ham, though. I think Alan would concur with that.
I would indeed concur.
I'm going to share one more one that's kind of cool to watch.
Hey, Sean, you might try to go down like Home Depot and just get like they're pretty cheap. Just pieces of foot by a foot by a foot of plexiglass of different thicknesses. You might want to try and get some of that too if you really want to go all into this.
Let's see. I can't remember. I don't think it is translucent, just not very much, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Watching the footprints on floor, that stuff's nifty.
Yeah, and it's excellent for if you have a house, for example, or a caravan or whatever. It's an excellent tool to see if something's wrong with your insulation. Just walk outside and look at your roof or your walls, or look for leaks. Water leaks inside the walls as well.
Well, the thing is, over here with Cal Fire, down at the Cal Fire station, they have the FLIR. I think it's called the FLIR F1. It's what firefighters use to go into a building to look through smoke. But the thing is, I don't have any personal contacts that I know that I can go down there and borrow this piece of equipment for a day or so. So
yeah,
don't they my limited extent
in helmets?
I don't know about that. This is Cal Fire. This isn't the local fire department. This is force wildfire stuff.
Yeah, because here, most fire departments here have, and they can decide for themselves what to buy, but to a certain degree. Most of the fire marshals have a handheld thermal imager, but most fire departments also have 2 or 3 helmets per fire crew with built-in thermal imagers.
So what?
Yeah, we don't.
Something
Yeah,
that
California.
something that Sean was
California-
showing right there that I found always interesting when I first started going through my EE stuff and then started working in the field. You could actually check the torque on an electrical connection with a thermal imager. If
Yeah,
it,
that's what I was doing.
Look for loose connections. Yep.
yeah,
With here,
That was my coffee
Take
pot.
a screwdriver around your house and look for loose screws in electrical connections. That's an excellent idea, actually.
well, what Cal Fire uses out here with the thermal camera is they basically look at the ground, because when you have forest fires, you may get the trees and stuff, the fire done outside, but if you got like oak trees and stuff like that have large root systems, the fire can actually burn through the roots and then go from tree to tree that way. So you might think like everything's all done, but the roots will actually be burning underneath the ground, so they can actually. You think it's all done, but the root fire will basically go up back to another tree to get another problem again. So usually the team bosses will walk around with the FLIR F1s and basically look at the ground, see if the ground is hot in particular areas, and if it is, then you're fucking got the guys that go out there and start digging that shit up and start putting out the fire that's burning in these root holes.
Yeah. Plus, they also use, I'm sure, satellite thermal imagery for the bigger stuff too, and not just looking for smoke paint. What do you call them? Smoke plumes.
Smoke trail.
Smoke plumes and thermal imaging as well.
Well, so I'm wondering, is that underground coal fire in Pennsylvania still going?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it
The
is.
one in the Centralia, I can't remember the actual name
Yeah,
of
it's
it.
Centralia.
Yeah.
Well,
Same
what's
basic process out here.
What's interesting about my target that I've chosen to use for my moon tests, it's actually a plastic clipboard that is very, very quick to change temperatures with direct contact, but it doesn't transfer the heat throughout it very fast at all. So I can put my finger on it, it'll make a big old bright spot, but it won't spread throughout the rest of the plastic. It'll just slowly cool off.
And something that would be, I'm sorry, yeah.
And it does the same thing with cold. Put something cold on it, it makes one little tiny cold spot, but it doesn't spread. So it's got one very distinctive point, which is the whole point of this exercise.
And it would be extremely important too to show and explain the difference between temperature and heat and emissivity. For example, I've seen camera crews talking about, I can't remember what it was, it doesn't really matter. They have 2 plates that they ask people, okay, which one of these are hotter? And they always choose the one of
non-metallic,
the same one, but they're exactly the same temperature.
Yeah.
Because of heat conduction.
Okay. Well, here's a question. Here's a question I have with the moon, with the cold moon experiment. Okay. Could you do this on a moonlit night?
In what way?
Could you do it on a night where the moon is completely?
Oh, you're talking about 2 different targets measuring both temperatures? Yeah, Jaron actually did that, and he stopped talking about the moon being cold after that.
And Sean, you also plugged a good long while ago now. Then new YouTuber, Where's Wally, I think it was, who made this Arduino stuff and a video with that cooling stuff. I think that you plugged him. Yeah.
Oh, very much so. I mean, I actually did a teaser to plug it.
That too.
Where I actually left the result of his video, so people had to go to his original video to see the results. But yeah, he actually used 4 temperature sensors in series to find out if the moon coming up and higher in the sky as it hit more and more of the sensors, if the temperatures changed, and of course it didn't, because the moon doesn't do that.
I wonder if those 4 temperature sensors are the ones that I'm now in possession of, because he sent me 4.
That's very possible.
Probably.
And he told me to keep it all.
Show off.
Wally is
just
awesome.
just keep
He
those.
told me to keep it for version 2.
Just keep those magnets away from them.
Yeah. Keep those magnets away from
Depends on
anything.
what type of sensors they are. I mean, NTC,
Those
PTC,
magnets are awesome.
K probes or J probes.
Yeah, just don't put your kids art up on the refrigerator with them.
Yeah,
do that.
you might end up moving the fridge.
Look, I'm thinking about buying some of those magnets, using them for magnet fishing.
And
that's actually
so that's calming for me, right?
So that's the thing. Those magnets were actually intended for that.
For
they're
what?
Magnet fishing, where you actually drop them in the
yeah.
water to fish out the material and
Yeah,
actually
at first
recycle
I thought you said magnet fishing. I was like, what? Nuclear fishing off of magnets? No.
Oh, you haven't heard about it? It's new.
Search for videos on YouTube. There's a lot of YouTubers that do that for fun, and sometimes they even find detonators for hand grenades, for example. Or
there was one guy in South Carolina that did that. Sucker went off on him too.
So it can be fun. Most of the time they find junk, and hey, if you're lucky enough and you have the right connections, you can, collect it, and then after a while go to the junkyard and sell it.
Now, there are a couple of YouTubers that have actually found guns doing that.
There's a lot of them actually.
Yeah.
But not just magnet fishers, guys with magnets and ropes, but also I can't remember
the guys. D Almighty and Tristan
that's one,
and Yeppy Twan Twan.
So, guys, does this about accurate for California?
Hang
on, I can't see.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking normal, especially the shit in the background.
Yeah, it's a two-part picture with in the top there's a golf course in the foreground, people playing golf. And then in the background you see a raging forest fire, and then a small cartoon underneath. So it's
that's pretty close to Fresno.
Yeah, that's not that bad. It's just when you start getting the ashfall, it's when you fucking need to start figuring out that you better be standing in the middle of that fucking what do you call it? That golf course right there on that fairway, where the fuck it's called.
So you can be cooked rather than burned.
I would rather be. That's one thing. That's one thing they teach about when you start working for Cal Fire. So you got to go through training and whatnot. And when I was active duty Army in Fort Lewis, Washington, my first time we were working with forest fires was in 05, I think. It was either 05 or 06. It was for the fire called the Tripod Complex, which was in the central part of Washington. But you got to go through the training, and one of the training things you got to do is you got to learn, you got to learn how to do the fire shelter thing. So of course you do also the training, and then you also go through, watch the videos, talk with people who've been in these situations where they actually had to go into their fire shelters, and they always tell you when you're in your fire shelter, no matter how bad or how hot or how basically just how bad it is on the inside, no matter what you fucking do, you never ever ever break that seal and try and get out of it. Even if you think you're fucking on fire on the inside, it's 30 times worse on the outside. Just stay in there and buckle it up, because you open up, it's going to get a lot worse for you. And that's what happened with those, not with those guys, because they didn't come out of they didn't break their seals. But in the up in Winthrop, Washington, they had a forest fire a couple of years earlier in 2001, and I think it was 4 or 5 people died because the fire overtook them, and they went up on what they call a scree slope. And scree is when you look at cliffs like that and you see all that rock at the bottom of it, we call that scree. And you never ever want to go up there with your fire shelters, but they went up there anyways. And the fire started coming up on them, so they went to their fire shelters on the scree slope. But inside the scree slope, underneath is all this dead brush and twigs and stuff that's gone between the rocks. So they basically went in there and basically got in their fire shelters, and the fire came up underneath, and it got burned through the rocks into their fire shelters. And there's only one person who survived, because he started getting cooked on the inside, and he felt they say when the fire hits, it's like a hurricane outside, and he felt the the winds died down enough where he could break the seal, and he basically broke his seal and ran down the ski slope, went across the road, jumped into the river. But he said it was a good 30 seconds of nothing but screaming, and then it just went quiet from the 4 people who never got outside their fire shelters. But they always tell you, if you go into your fire shelters, it could be 200 degrees in there, but never ever get out, because it's going to be about 1,800 degrees outside that fire shelter. So that's one of the big things they really push around here, is that fire shelter shit. But
Well, when it's that effective, and if you set it up in the right spot, if it can give you that chance at survival, well, fuck yeah, I'm going to trust it and go with the training.
I mean, it's the only thing you got. It's just with that situation, like you're in that with that fairway, you get into the middle. You basically clear out all the stuff that can burn around you. Get rid of what I call clear out the fuels.
Yep.
Clear out the fuels, and then get into your shelter and basically pin it down with your feet. Get your feet go into like a pocket at the foot end. Your foot go into a pocket, then you have straps on the inside you hold down with your hands. But that's the reason why I tell you to make sure you're wearing you got your work gloves. Don't take off your work gloves when you're doing this, because it can, like I said, the people who survived inside these shelters was 200 some odd degrees, and it may last a minute, 30 seconds as the flame front passes over, but you don't want to get out of it, because it's just like a furnace outside that fucking fire shelter. But a fire shelter can't last that long. If it's got direct flames directly touching the material, it breaks down the glues and stuff that hold that stuff together, breaks down the aluminum, the mylars. It breaks all that shit down and starts destroying it. So you want to basically have no flame contact. So you basically just want to be like a little jiffy pop. That's how they put it.
Question.
Yes.
Do those shelters have ablative shielding too, or is it only reflective shielding?
It's just reflective.
Ooh.
Huh.
All it is it's basically just think of it as aluminum foil wrapped around your body, and it's got some Kevlar and stuff.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Because I've only had I have never had to get into my shelters, but I have had to pull my shelter out of its packet and open up the it looks like a big square on your back, or it depends where the guy is. I keep mine on my back, and if I'm on the dozer, I have mine hanging from one of the safety cage. But I've only had to pull mine out twice. Once I had to actually pull it out, and the other time I had to pull it, actually break the plastic seal around it. You get these red pull tabs. You pull the pull tabs, and then basically it looks like a silver brick. And I've only had to break those red tabs once, but the flame front went a different direction, and I didn't have to go into it.
Yeah, and my mind wandered, and I thought you were talking about structures. Fire shelters as a structure, and not the mylar thermal sheets looking thing.
I'm gonna start calling you an extremophile, guys.
Why? What?
Because you love to go from like -70 to 1,800 degrees, and you're just okay with it.
I'm all about experiencing new things.
Hey
But
guys,
I've had,
look,
like I said,
you're talking to a group of guys whose idea of extreme sports is trying to beat the timer on a GPS from one location to the next.
Oh, that's easy on the bike.
But it's
well, yeah, Jared, that's on the bike.
I mean, it's back with the forest fire stuff. I'm sure everybody's heard about the fire that happened down in Arizona that killed the entire hotshot crew.
Is this recent, or is that?
I think it was called the 33 mile fire, but it was down there in Arizona, and they actually made a movie about it. It had not Bronson. God damn, I can't remember his fucking name now. But basically, but it was basically they were in Arizona, and it's a true story how everything happened. It's one of the big things they teach us for fire crews. It's also one of the movies that we kind of watch out there when we're downtime. But it was an entire hotshot crew that went down into a valley to get around a fire, but the fire switched directions. It basically came right at them and basically trapped them inside a mesquite brush area. And because being with CAL FIRE, you have access to all the after action reports, you would call them, all the write-ups about what happened. So we got to see all the pictures of where their bodies were at, where their equipment was, where their saws were at, where with the brush was, because you could basically see in the pictures that they were trying to take their saws and cut away the brush and stuff that was around them. That one. But that entire crew got wiped out. The flame came across them. They couldn't get rid of the brush that was around them. They tried to get as much as possible. The flame was on so fast that after the review of it, they could see where the guys with the saws, they call them sawyers, were trying to cut the brush away around them, but they didn't have enough time for the saw to go all the way through the brush. So you can see where they basically stopped cutting. You can see the notch in the mesquite, and you can see where they basically threw their what do you call them, their saws away. And some of the guys it happened so fast that they took their fire shelters and they got in with their packs. And on their packs they had fucking flares for starting fires in remote areas, and the flares ignited inside the fire shelters with them. But that entire crew got wiped out. It's a big thing up here about that movie and what happened, because it's very accurate from our perspective. I mean, there's always things about theatrical stuff, but how it happened, how things fast happens with wind changes and whatnot with fires, and you can't see it, and your lookout can't see it either, because when you're fighting fire, you have a lookout. And they took their lookout, and he moved down to a farther away where he couldn't see the fire, which is a big no-go. You always have a lookout, watching what the fire's at, and always knows where the crew's at. So if the fire stops, the wind changes and comes back in a different direction, it takes minutes for it to cross, a couple miles and be right on top of you. So he had a lot of mistakes that time, and it's one of the things that we teach new guys coming in about. You may think this is just fine, but this can get really bad really, really fast, and
this is why you got to be on top of your game,
guys.
I'm just going to say that constantly looking at the weather too.
I'm just going to say that as of right now, you have the biggest balls among us, and just be careful of what you do out there, man.
Well, I appreciate it. Right now, it's kind of quiet. Everything, all the fires on the east slope. I'm getting paid big bucks for them to rent my shit, and knock on wood, we'll get some rains up here. Start getting all this dry brush and shit. Get wet. Get the humidity up, and hopefully there's no lightning strikes up around my vicinity. But I appreciate it.
Now, I had a question come to mind earlier. Like you've mentioned the whole how it can start just as easily as a spark from someone dropping a match. I know out in that area in the ranges, there are a lot of people who do dirt bike and trail ridings. How many times has the heat from the engine or the exhaust of a dirt bike started something off?
It's not usually the heat, it's usually sparks is what the biggest problem is. For example, it's called the car fire. It was up by Reading last year. Big, massive fucking fire. It almost almost took out the entire city of Reading, California. Big, massive thing. And that all started because of a car's hot brakes, and he was going downhill, it was a pickup truck going downhill towing a trailer, and his brakes overheated, and he saw the smoke, and he pulled over to the side of the road, and the first thing he pulled over into was nothing but into the grass, and the grass caught on fire. It was windy that day, so it basically just whipped up from there. It took across in the grass, got up into the brush underneath in the trees, and just exploded from there because of how the terrain was.
And here you are as the driver thinking, oh shit, something's going wrong with my car, let me just pull over, and then that happens.
Yeah, they had I think one of those big fires down there in SoCal, down by LA, was started because of a trash truck. There's something in the back of a fire of a trash truck that caught on fire. So the guy, I think it's on video where a guy, I'm sure you guys can pull it up because I'm on my phone, but the trash truck was smoking in the back, so the trash truck pulls over, and the first thing the dude does to stop the fire was open up the fucking back of the trash truck. Ooh. And as soon as he opened the back of the trash truck, the wind got up in there and kind of whipped everything around. All this embers just like that took off and got outside, got into the grass, and it just took off from there.
Yeah, there's a reason why truck drivers or semi drivers in Denmark are instructed to keep driving if they're in the tunnel and they see something burning. If they have a fire on their truck, they have to keep going. I guess the same rule goes for trains as well.
Well,
In tunnels.
it's like up in here when I was talking about people asking me to do not dozer lines, but doing a defensive perimeters around properties. Before I do it, I do a humidity index. And I do it the old school way where I do a wet bulb and I put it on the end of a chain, I swing it around, and I get my humidity count. And if it's below a certain point, I won't take the dozer out there and do my laps, because I don't need the blade or my scraper to go across a piece of granite, slit off a little bit of a spark, and that shit goes to the grass and smolders for a little bit. And I fucking leave, and all of a sudden the wind picks up, starts that shit into a fucking nasty little fire. I don't do shit when it's a percentage of humidity, based on my area. So I got to basically look at my tables and find out what the best time to do it is, because I'll either take my dozer and I'll use the blade and I'll scrape everything, or push everything, or I'll use the scraper to scrape everything. If it's not that bad, I'll use ship's anchor chains from like large cargo ships. I'll take those things and drag it across, because that just tears up everything. But you don't try and do anything out with sparks. Even with people shooting, if they miss and hits a rock, causes a spark, stuff like right now, everything around here is fucking brown. Everything around here is brown and dead. And in this winter time, when everything rains, everything gets all green and everything gets all nice and tall. But as soon as the rain stops, everything dries out. It's nothing but fucking, waist deep grass out here, and it gets really, really nasty, really, really quick. So.
Well, I'm going to go start getting prepped, because the moon's supposed to be up at about 11 o'clock. And I want to make sure I'm all ready for that.
Well, have fun.
Yay!
Later, Sean.
Later, guys.
Later.
Bye.
Laters. Guys who need to stop talking. So somebody else tell stories.
Hey, that is some interesting shit that you're up to.
Well, like I said, the thing is, I don't work the lines anymore. I mean, I've done that stuff when I was in the Army and stuff like that. When the Army guys got called up at Fort Lewis, I've done the lines. I've worked the hoses and stuff like that. So now, since I have a dozer and a flatbed and stuff like that, I just do dozer shit. So I'm either a dozer guy, dozer operator, or I'm a dozer crew boss. It all depends on what's going on. So I could be in charge of me and my equipment, or I could be in charge of 5 dozers doing dozer shit. And I just sit up in a pickup truck and tell people where they need to go and what they need to do, and I pretend like I'm in the Army and just give them their safety briefs, make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, check on them. Give me a call in every hour. If you're working a hotline, give me a call in every 30 minutes. Make sure that way I know you're still alive, because dozer crews usually work by ourselves. It'll be either a dozer or a dozer and a skid steer, working behind the dozer, clearing shit off, pushing stuff away, running dozer lines up on ridge lines. So, knock on wood, I haven't had any my guys get hurt or I get hurt. But last year or a year, 2 years ago, no, last year, when I was still in Antarctica, they had a dozer coming down the line out by El Portal down there by the Merced, and he was going down a old fire road, and he basically started going off road a couple times, and he the last time he didn't quite make it. His left track went off the side, and he took a tumble. I think it was 2,500 feet down to a hole, and his whole cab got crushed and everything like that, and he was crushed.
Yikes. Well, in that case, in case he died of that, I really do hope that he got knocked unconscious early.
Yeah, he was. It was a D9. It was a D9 cat dozer, a big ass fucking cat, and the whole.
And they still have roll cages, but not strong enough.
That roll cage is that one. I just tacoed over. It was so much momentum going down the hill, and it's out here. It's not just like it's not like just a hill with a little bit of dirt. This is going down a rocky old dozer line or fire line. Goddamn, a dozer line or fire line. I think it was an old dozer line from like something like the 50s or 60s. So you're just driving down the thing, and his tracks are just a little bit too wide, and his left side came. When they did the investigation, his left track, they got pictures where his left track went off the road a couple times up the mountain. But as he was coming down, this the last time, it just collapsed underneath him and just rolled over. And once it got going down the hill, there's nothing but big ass fucking boulders the size of houses. And he flipped that thing, went over those, car wheeled a couple times, and then the whole cage that he was in just crumpled up like a taco.
Sounds like it would have been safer if he even was able to jump out of that thing, but that would probably be dangerous too.
Well, it happened when it happened. It wasn't. There was no way he was going to get out in time. Because even if he started getting out of the door on the opposite side, the track was already up and over on top of him, not getting him out. It'd be like he just basically had to start sensing just a little bit of it slide. He might have had a chance, but by the time he takes off his seatbelt, gets his opens up the door, starts to climb over, the track's already about to be on top of him, and it's over. So they just call it take the ride, because it's going to be one way or the other. So.
Yeah, and I remember when I started riding tractors for farm work, I was just told, okay, when you drive up that hill over there, if you start tumbling, just hold on to the steering wheel. That's it.
Here
don't have anything to do, but that's just a dunk done. But,
no, it's
you said 2,000 or 2,500 feet drop.
Yeah, it was about that.
Yeah, at a 45 or 50 degree angle.
Well, the thing is, he got the dozer stopped on a big boulder field. If it continued down, he would have landed inside the Merced River upside down, and he would have drowned. But hopefully, it happened really quickly when he got, because I've seen the photos, the coroner's photos. He was crushed beyond recognition. Where his body had to sit in a space where it was about 3 inches high.
No chance of getting out of that.
So that's the big thing I worry about when I've got to work with the guys like that and stuff happening. That's my biggest fear is my dozer guys are doing what they're supposed to, and I always tell them, if you think you're not going to make it, don't do it. Just stop. There's no reason. There's no way need to risk, because just like with the Army safety briefs, I just tell them, hey, if you're doing this and you start feeling something's getting squirrely, just stop. There's no reason for you to risk your life. And if you're about to get taken over by fire, just take the dozer, just start pushing, making a clearing, and then get underneath the dozer and getting your shelter and just buckle down, because it's going to get windy and nasty. But the dozer's not going to catch on fire and blow up like in the movies. You may end up because the dozers we use around here are all they're called wildfires. I mean goddamn, I keep thinking wildfire. No, not modified. Wildlands. They call them the Wildlands modifications. That means all the hydraulic lines all have shields on them. The exhaust has special grates on them, so we don't they don't spit out not ash, but embers and stuff. That doesn't come out of the exhaust. Like I said, everything's all shielded. The cage, you got the windows and the glass, or not glass anymore, it's big ass thick plexiglass, but the plexiglass is extra thick, plus you got this big, looks like, we call it the squirrel cage. It goes all the way around, everything like that. So if you're working in trees and you're pushing over big ass oaks and a big fucking oak limb snaps above you, it won't pierce through the cage itself. So everything's all protected. It's called Wildland kits. You can get them.
I'm pretty sure that they have HEPA filters on steroids, but do they also have a emergency air supply?
Nope.
A tank?
No.
Nope. Even with the dozers, we tell them if the fire's overtaking you, it's basically a dozer procedure is if he's trapped, if it's him and his whatever he's with, is just either working by himself or usually like we call him a skid steer. It's basically like a little dozer, except we don't have the one with the tires. We have ours is all tracked. Mine is all tracked. And basically they work in tandems. But if the flame is going, so like they're working a ridge line, and the flame has changed direction. Now it's coming up and over, and it's going to be over you within 2 or 3 minutes. And you're in a spot. Take the dozer and start pushing away all the fuels that you can. Just make the ground just dirt. And then where you think you're going to be at, just take the dozer and drive right over that spot. Get out of shut down the dozer, turn off the fuel, because there's a manual fuel cock, turn off the fuel cock, close the door to the dozer, get underneath the dozer, and put on your shelter. Do not stay inside the dozer. Just get out.
When using those dozers during a fire, for whatever reason, isn't it practical to have a spotter for safety, for that kind of thing? You know, but
Depends.
for when you things that you just can't necessarily see going bad when you're concentrating on the line.
For example, if I'm working as a dozer boss or dozer crew or a dozer boss, and when a dozer boss, you can have either it's yourself, and it could be either any more than 3 dozers is what they call. If you're in charge of them, then you're called a dozer boss. Otherwise, you're a team boss. If I'm a dozer boss and I got 3 dozers out there working, plus a couple skid steers, I won't be there with them. I'll be up on a higher spot on the ridgeline because I will be the lookout. I will be able to a spot where I can see where they're working or the ridgeline that they're on, but I will also have it where I have direct line of sight to the fire. Wherever the fire front.
Weather station as well, I would imagine.
Huh?
And a weather station as well.
Yes, I have. I have a weather. I have a weather station just because of pure habit, but I get my weather from a professional meteorologist who's from a different position getting weather. But they're not very far from me either. My whole thing is to watch what they're doing. I look where they're operating. I know what ridgeline they're on. I've already called up to my boss and tell them, okay, I got 5 dozers working from this drop point to this drop point on this ridgeline. They're working from north to south to do whatever they're doing. But I will be up higher on the ridgeline where I have direct access looking at the area. I don't have to see them, but I know which ridgeline they're on. And I also have, my big thing is I want to see where the flame front is. I want to be able to see where the flames actually are. And I will basically watch what the flames are doing and where they're at. So if the flames switch directions all of a sudden, I'll get on the radio and I'll give a radio check and say, hey, the flame front has changed directions. It is heading your direction. I recommend you guys either work your way back up towards me, or you guys work your way down farther down and get to get away from it.
Yeah, so basically a civilian version of battle management.
Yes, my big thing for me is safety. I mean, I don't think anything out there is risking anybody's life. So I haven't had, for me as a dozer, all the fires I work with as a dozer boss have all pretty much done what they're supposed to. I haven't had no crazy wind spec up, any crazy thermals effects, because fires have a really nasty habit of when all that hot air goes up and it cools up in the stratosphere, it likes to descend really, really fucking fast. And it can come down like a microburst and just blow everything out. So that's what...
I would think that a heavy fire on a hill would be the most dangerous, because it could, but just by a slight change of wind direction, increase the wind speed because it draws in oxygen. First.
But you remember that? Remember that story I was telling you about the firefighters who died up on the scree slope? That happened to them because they basically where they were working at they were on one side of a valley. Say if you're looking at a valley, they were working on the left side of a valley. In the middle of it was a river. They were working on the left side of it. The fire started from a campfire that got out of control on the right side of the river, and it started climbing up the hillside over there on that side on the riverbank. And they were fine. They didn't have any fucking problems. They're doing just fine. They're working there. They even took pictures during their fucking lunch break of this fire front, and they didn't see any problem with it. But they went up a little bit farther than they should have, and then the thermal effects of all this clouds and stuff made the air get cold and all of a sudden descend, and the wind came down. These downdrafts, these microbursts, basically pushed the fire from one side of the valley across the river to the other side, and basically cut across the river, cut across the road, cut across their escape, and they only had one direction to go. But because of the fucking flame front was just basically chasing them down the road, and they got trapped where they couldn't go any farther. The road just stopped, and they had no choice to basically set up. And some people set up inside on the road. A couple of people, 2 civilians that were out there hiking, they had to go into the shelters with the firefighters. But 3 people set up on the road, 2 people set up on the riverbank, and I can't remember if it's, like I said, the 4 or the 5 went up onto the scree slope, because the people went up on the scree slope, followed their crew boss. because it's basically a crew boss and 3 or 4 trainees. I can't remember, like I said, the exact number. I think it was 4 people who died, but eventually it was first 5 people went up, and then it was 4 people who came. 5 people went up the scree slope, but 4 never came back down. But they got trapped up in there. But they were fine. But this when the weather changed and how the downdrafts like that basically pushed the fire from one side of the valley to across the other side of the valley, and basically pushed it like a wall of flame following them as they went trying to get away from this thing. And when they got trapped, they, like I said, they did what they had to do. And the guy the 2 people who were on the riverbank were very fucking lucky that the flame front passed fast enough, because they almost got themselves fucking broiled from the moisture and sand underneath of them, basically cooking them from underneath. But it didn't happen long enough where they didn't have any. They had 2nd to 3rd degree burns from steam from the riverbank getting too hot. But the people on the scree slope, they just basically, the flames got underneath
they got it the worst.
Yeah.
And so in that situation, to me, it seems like the ones who made the best choice were the ones who went onto the road. Is that right?
Yeah. The ones who went on the road survived because they were away from the equipment. They got away from their transportation, the vans they were using to get around. And basically with the fire, with the what do you call it? The fucking, I can't think right now. The fire shelter, when you get it on, like, you basically you pull it out, you shake it open, and the foot side there's like a thing where your feet go into, and then you basically lay down and you basically hold your you got straps on the inside for your hands. And you basically hold down with your straps in your hands, and then with your forearms you basically try and hold down the edge of the shelter down to the ground as much as possible to keep it sealed. And they tell you if you have enough time, you basically start digging a hole in front of your face so you get your mouth as low to the ground. Start digging a hole for your mouth to breathe cool air, because it's going to get really, really nasty in there really, really quickly when the flame hits. And because you're not going to have this perfect seal, because that's one of the first things they tell you is the winds are like hurricane force, and that's how they teach you and train you is when you're doing through these drills through the practice shelters. Is some usually after they go into the shelters and they got a seal, then people will walk around and grab the shelters and try and grab them, and try and pull the seal away from them. And if they break the seal, they try and they want the trainees to pull that seal shut, because you want to keep that seal to the ground as much as possible, and you want to keep your breathing space as low to the ground as possible. So if you get in your shelter before the fire hits and you have time, they tell you to take your fingers and start digging a hole in front of your mouth and try and get your mouth as low to the ground as possible. Get into that hole to get that fresh air, because eventually it's going to be about 200 degrees in there. You don't want that hot air getting into your lungs either.
Yeah, you could literally burn your what were they called? Ravioli or no? Your lungs.
Yeah.
And by the way, I wasn't laughing at you. I just laughed at Darkseid from the live chat. That's fucking hilarious. So it was someone claims that has a claim about railguns being able to prove the flat Earth.
Oh, that fucking yeah, that's Quantum Eraser's thing. Quantum Eraser doesn't understand what ballistics are.
Oh, I don't think it was just him. But hang on a second. So I'm actually going to ask if Darkseid is on Discord, because we could get him in here and actually have him give us the story firsthand.
Oh, I've gone after fucking Quantum Eraser with this thing so much he's fucking blocked me.
Aw, poor little thing. You bully.
It's like a fucking retard. Quantum Eraser talks about the Sea Sparrow missile, and he's got his little presentation. He shows a picture of a Sea Sparrow missile. If you don't know where that sits on a fucking aircraft carrier, it's pretty much near the flight deck. And right next to it, they call it the I think it's called the Mark 92, Mark 95, fucking
something like that.
Yeah, it's the illumination radar for the fucking missile, because a fucking sea sparrow is nothing more than a fucking sparrow missile that comes off an airplane, except the one off an airplane has needs the radar from the aircraft to paint the fucking target, so the sparrow when it's launched can fucking home in on the fucking reflection.
Yep.
a Sea Sparrow needs that fucking other radar. But Quantum Racer and his fucking infinite wisdom like that is like, oh look, the fucking radar is so many feet above the ground, it's above the water, blah blah blah. And it's
we
like
dissected that a month or two ago here on Veterans Talk.
Oh, well, I don't use anything then.
It's not to mention it's a close support.
I was waiting for you to take a breath.
Yeah, shouldn't you be going over to fucking Popeyes or something right now or something?
Not to mention it's a short range anti-aircraft weapon. It's got a range of what, 10 miles?
Yeah, but the thing is though, Quantum Eraser doesn't know that fucking that illumination radar is also way up on the fucking on the island of the fucking the carrier.
Yeah, which is another 50 feet on top of that.
But the thing is, Quantum Eraser doesn't know that he's only seen that picture of that radar next to the fucking by the launcher over by the phalanx. That's the only spot he thinks that the fucking radar is. It's like, well, how can that fucking radar see so fucking far? Blah blah blah. It should be looking at the ocean. Quantum Racer, why don't you take a look at a picture of the fucking the island of an aircraft carrier? They're way the fuck up there. But BM Furball just needs to go over to Popeyes or something.
Yeah.
That's right across the street from me. I'm still on my keto diet. I can't have anything until for another week or two.
You're living down there by Gate 1, aren't you?
I'm up the hill behind the chapel. I'm in the long-term lodging since I've got a pet with me. So I've actually got a bedroom, a kitchen, a living room, all by myself. So there's nobody else in this building.
They should have put your ass in a Quonset hut.
So speaking
of a dog, they've got to be nice to the dog.
Speaking of the furry one, the request has been made, Furball.
Fine. I'm playing Fortnite right now. I'll hide inside of a roof. And let me go find the dog.
Oh, you're living in fucking Magic Land.
Snow, where you at, girl? Come on. Oh shit, she's actually in her kennel. Goodness.
Wow, she's learning.
Just a question. The Sea Sparrow, I have no idea how that thing works, but it would also be realistic to think that it would work like so many other missile systems where it is guided by a radar signal.
It can be guided off platform too, can it?
In the beginning, and then when it gets close enough, you can turn it off because it go and then it just basically tracks the targets on its own.
So
the Sparrow is nothing more than a beam rider, basically.
Yeah, and
exclusively, or
yes, it is. There are three types of missile systems from the aircraft. The Sparrow is the semi-active, which means it needs the external radar source to get it started to actually have it track the target. The kicker on top of it is the latest gen Sparrows can actually integrate into the entire battle group's radar network for targeting for target acquisition. So it's not
including AWACS and the carrier version of the AWACS as well, I would imagine.
Yeah. Well, not so much the AWAC. You actually need the target designating system. This is where it ties in with the Aegis system that is on the destroyers and cruisers. So you actually have that network of detection and tracking that will integrate in with the carrier and direct fire that way. That way you have that total battlefield network development for all of it.
It's kind of like with Patriot. Patriot, needs the radar to basically track an incoming ballistic whatever. But after a certain point, when in flight, the missile itself has it till they call it terminal guidance. The terminal guidance will kick in where the missile itself puts out its own radar for the precision part of the impact. That's what I think with that.
Which is only
Can the Sea Sparrow launch without guidance initially and then acquire guidance after launch?
No, the Harpoon can, not the Sea Sparrow.
Yeah, the Sea Sparrow is like if you're flying around and here comes an airplane that's flying around, and they basically the illumination radar looks like basically like a fucking flashlight. Goes, oh look, there's a fucking airplane right there. I'm just gonna keep my little fucking flashlight pointing at you, and I'm gonna launch a missile at you. And as long as you stay in my little light beam, you're gonna get fucking hit. And that's basically how it is. But like with Jared was saying that the newer version of Sea Sparrow, just like Patriot, when it gets close to its target, it basically has its own internal terminal guidance radar that basically will kick in to give it more precision on what it's where it needs to hit at, basically.
Yeah, so
that would be a passive radar in that case, right?
Well, so here's your
at close range it wouldn't matter if it was active.
So here's your three types. Your pure passive radar, your pure passive guidance system for a missile. It requires the launching platform or the guidance platform where to maintain target lock the entire time. So this is for aircraft purposes. So let's stick with that because that's actually where a lot of these principles started. A purely passive missile, the aircraft has to maintain its radar lock the entire time. The missile is tracking the radar return and getting its commands to know where to go that way. It has no self-guidance at all. Your semi-active is the one that starts off in that way, but then at terminal, usually within half a mile, it switches over to its own internal active tracking. That would be your Sea Sparrow and your Sparrow missile system. Your full active is one where it does not. It's essentially a fire and forget missile from an aircraft or a ship where they designate the target, they lock it on. The actual lock-on is coming from the missile itself, not the aircraft system. So the Sidewinder,
like the AIM-65, if I remember correctly.
The Phoenix.
You basically give the missile. You give the missile everything it needs, then launch it, and then
just give it a fire function or whatever it's called.
The Phoenix missile system was actually a semi-active because it actually took the radar inputs from the AUG-9 initially and started on its path that way, and then did its own terminal based off of its internal tracking system. The pure active missile system that the U.S. military uses is the Sidewinder, the thermal, because its seeker head is designating the target when it's still on the wing, and then it does its own tracking the entire way.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with Stinger.
Still active. What the hell?
They introduced
the Sidewinder.
Yeah. No, I said it wrong. I said AIM, and I should have said AGM-65 Maverick. Air-to-ground missile.
Oh, the Maverick. The Maverick is another one. Yeah. The Maverick's still in use. The Walleye is still in use. There's a lot of weapon systems that are still in use. Like even your GBUs, your general purpose bombs, have been remade.
The bombs that are.
They've made them smart bombs because of the JDAM system. The JDAM system itself is not the bomb, is not the warhead. It's the guidance system that they can put onto the payload.
Yeah, you'll have upgraded electronics and stuff. I mean,
and that's the coolest shit ever. You just have a form, and you just cast a shit ton of concrete, and you slap a JDAM on it, and you have a dumb bomb that can actually mess stuff up.
It's like the Mark 48. How many times have we upgraded the electronics in that?
Yeah, like the Sidewinder. It was initially launched in the 60s as a platform. We're on the AIM-9X platform, which here's the fun thing about that one. Prior to the AIM-9X, in order for the AIM-9 to get a target lock, it had to be within a narrow field of view of, I think, 40 degrees off-center in either direction of the center line of the aircraft. Now, with the AIM-9X, as long as it's somewhere within the availability of a seeker head to be gotten, with the helmet tracking system that's in the Super Hornets and the F-35 now, you don't have to turn the aircraft to get your lock. You can literally just turn your head and look at the target. And if the seeker head can reach it, it will lock on and do a damn near 90-degree turn to get to it as soon as it clears the rail.
Hey, Star Wars X-Wing. It's awesome.
And here's the sad part about it. Having the missile system be able to do that look-down targeting setup, the Russians actually implemented it first.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what on the MiG-20 was not the 29. I can't remember which MiG it was.
Yeah, it was the 20.
Basically, if you're looking for the windscreen, you see a big fucking bubble thing sticking up. That was their. That's what they used. They could basically shoot off axis or off bore sight.
Yeah, we are soon going to start receiving our F-35s. We're getting rid of our F-16s now. I believe they have chosen to implement the, what would you call it, 360 cockpits HUD system.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
helmet-mounted HUD system, so they can literally see bogies or whatever just by moving their head around, because of the cameras everywhere. I don't know if there's thermal imagers everywhere, covering all of them, but there's radar, but there's also cameras.
The primary inputs to the HUD for that 360-degree view are actually the radar inputs. When they go to thermal, they are still at a 160-degree cone view, if I remember right. They don't have the lateral or rear thermal capabilities. But again, that's where the radar system would kick in with the returns. You're still going to have a blind spot behind you.
Yeah, and the F-35 doesn't have an external weapon
hard points. Yeah, they do.
Weapon
yeah, they do.
Okay, so you could still put in surveillance pods, but also targeting pods. So you could literally have targeting
in all directions. Yeah, the lantern pod.
For the top, maybe, but
the lantern pod that was first implemented on the F-14 and then got transitioned over to the Hornet has that capability. But here's the problem with putting that onto the F-35, and this is why a number of your loadouts are really about going with the hard points on the wings. Is what is one of the big selling features about the F-35?
Stealth.
The stealth profile. What are you going to destroy once you do a hard point on the wing?
Stealth.
Yeah, I just found a not so flattering picture of the F-35. It's not the best angle, but you can see a lot of pods, though. No, damn it. The what do you call them? Now I did it again. Weapon stations. What do you call them?
Weapons hard points.
Hard points.
Yep.
Okay, fair enough. There it is. Yeah, sorry, Bing. I know. I've been lazy. I haven't changed the search engine over to Google yet. I'm lazy that way.
Jay, before we get to that, I have an image that you're going to want to share, and I'm going to read the title.
Not my pink dress again.
No, I'm going to read the tagline that came with it.
Okay, hold on.
Hey, while we're waiting on that,
sized for this image.
Before you get on that, a BM is Hovey still open?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. They're connected. It's technically considered one post.
Okay. Yeah, it's always been covered. It's always been called Casey Hovey with the Hovey cut in the middle. I just wondered if, with everything drawing down, I thought maybe Hovey closed down.
No, right now everything over on Hovey is rotational units. So they do 9-month rotations for brigades back in the States. They come over and cause problems for 9 months and then go home. All those guys are over on Hobie.
Okay, I was just gonna, like I said, I got to go on Google Earth and circle some buildings like you take a picture of. Because
oh yeah,
have you been out to Hobie yet?
Yeah, I've driven around a little bit.
You know, when you go out to Hobie and you're about to go to, like, you're going, you're on that road and you're about to go to the Hobie gate, but to your left you have that one little bridge.
I think yes.
And across is like a big motor pool and that kind of thing.
Yep.
That used to be Bravo 5588's motor pool when I was there. And that was before the big flood, because our training room and our NBC room and arms room were all in Quonset huts right on that river, on Doodoo Creek's riverbank. And when the big flood came through, we had all our arms room got washed away, our NBC room got washed away, our training room got washed away. So yeah, but I got to circle some buildings like you take a couple pictures of. It's nothing classified, nothing, no weird infrastructure shit. It's not taking pictures of gates. It's just barracks and stuff I used to live in. So.
Yeah, everything is still over there. Some of the stuff on the Casey side of Post has changed a little bit. They've got newer buildings over here, but the majority of everything on Hobie still looks ancient.
Yeah, I was stationed on Hobie both my tours. Casey was, you got to take the bus ride to get up on fucking Casey, and our Alpha battery was on Casey. When you come up to that Y intersection, where you got the what do you call it, the fire station, or I guess was in the middle. You take the left to go to You take the left to go to Gate 1. Then you take the right to go to over by the the medical side of everything, where the hospital was up on the hill. But anyways, you take that right, and then you go across that bridge, and there's a motor pool right there by the wash rack. That's where our Alpha battery motor pool used to be, right next to the wash rack. And if you went up farther up there, that was where our first tank used to be, where the Abrams guys used to hang out up in the they call it Dragon Valley, up the mountain.
Yeah, there's not many tanks left up here. There's a handful, but mostly it's artillery these days.
Yeah, Hobie, where our motor pool used to be, they turned that into after a while was because when I was there, it was 1-9 Manchu, and then on Casey was 2-9 Manchu, and then you had first tank and second tank were up on both on Casey. Hobie was nothing more than a 88 unit infantry battalion, or mechanized infantry battalion, and of course all the Lurs D field artillery unit was up there. I think it was first of the 15th was all up on Hobie when I was there. But I still got to circle some buildings to kind of show some buildings like you take a couple pictures of. This is my barracks and stuff.
See you, man.
All right.
Yeah, I'll be here for another 3 weeks. I got plenty of time.
Yeah, like I said, I wasn't sure if Hobie was, because Hobie was my.
Not Ellen.
All right. So, Jay, got that image ready?
Yeah, let me make sure it decided I wanted to share properly, because it looks like it didn't.
There
we go.
So, when we were talking about the different missile guidance, this is your very passive-aggressive radar.
But it has a very, very sensitive sensor, though.
Now we have another one to bring up, which is actually something for us to read.
Uh-oh.
I heard that radar was actually a massive dick in real life.
Kind of got that vibe from him.
He was awesome in the series and the movie, but no, wait, what? No, he wasn't in the movie, was he?
I can't remember. I never watched it.
Really?
Yeah,
it's not that bad, actually.
Yeah, the biggest pain in the ass radar the Army has is the fucking THAAD radar for fucking the THAAD missile system. That thing is fucking beyond fucking pain in the ass.
Guys,
and the Chinese don't like it that we can look into their country from Korea.
Well, I kind of figured that image of radar there.
That we were actually looking at a picture of radar from MASH. Sounds like you didn't.
Well, looking at that picture of radar from MASH, about the only time that I've ever seen him really look like that was when Colonel Potter was in danger of having an affair, and I watched that episode last night.
All right, so I'll go ahead and read this one. This is from From the same viewer who sent the image of radar over to us. This one, the title, Smart Bombs to be replaced with Retarded Bombs. From an anonymous poster.
Is this from Doppelbag?
Oh, probably. From Dugway, Utah. The head of the U.S. Air Force's retarded bomb program is warning that there is a real danger of missing deadlines if his budget for this promising air-to-ground system is not restored by the end of the fiscal year. I need all of the prototype labs back to full production by the end of this month, Major General Curtis Visible Fetzer said at Tuesday's press conference at Dugway Proving Ground. Otherwise, we will start to see some delays, and at this point, that would just be retarded. In development since the late 1980s, the Herpaderp bomb, highly energetic, rigid penetrator, armor-defeating, encephalic reduction projectile, is not only...
Somebody put effort into this. This is awesome.
Is not only retarded by a parachute deployed after launch, but also causes people upon whom it is dropped to become retarded as well, usually immediately before it kills them. It's designed to create a shockwave that just clobbers the living fuck out of the human brain, says defense analyst Professor Pavel Portsebi. If they survive, it's coloring books for Christmas. You see, it was originally proposed in 1985 in response to a request for new strategies to reduce and degrade Soviet intelligence capabilities. And at the time, it was believed that the very best way to reduce their intelligence was to drop a big fucking bomb on them, hopefully causing cerebral hemorrhage or even death. The U.S. Navy is, in partnership with NATO and ANZUS allies, is developing the joint version, J-Herpaderp, for maritime strike role. They're also developing a standoff launch platform. Stop it. Standoff Tactical Aircraft Helicopter Projectile International Thrower. We believe that J. Herpaderp, stop it, will be key to our maritime strike tactics in the near future, said Program Chief Rear Admiral Henry Gloval. Even if we don't sink their boats, we're sure as hell gonna ring their chimes.
Why does that sound like that belongs in that one website that we look at from time to time?
Oh, probably because it is.
I think I need a link to that website, to that site there.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Duffel Blog is awesome.
Oh, that's,
Speaking of which, I should probably go check it out.
Site, apparently. Oh, I think something got completely past me. And it was from April 9th. Japan apparently lost an F-35. Huh. I did not know that.
Okay,
They lost. It went missing. What the hell?
How can an F-35 go missing?
I don't know. It's a new... let's see. It is an article from April 9th, 2019 from a website called nationalinterest.org. An F-35A fighter with Japan's Air Self-Defense Force has gone missing while flying over the Pacific Ocean, roughly 84 miles from the Japanese mainland. Okay, so it either ditched or someone defected then, to, for example, Russia or something. But I don't know. The single-seat aircraft dropped off the radar on Tuesday at about 7:27 p.m. local time. A SAR operation is currently underway. Blah blah blah. Why haven't I not heard about that? That's weird. Let's see if there's an update for it.
Actually, was that? I think that was one that was found back in July.
It's annoying. I mean, I'm used to having new news agencies, web-based that is, putting up updates to a story if updates are, necessary or applicable.
Found that one.
They did. Yeah, they did. They haven't done it here.
Yeah, they recovered the
On a
remains
runway
of
in
the
China?
pilot. He flew straight into the ocean, so there was investigation going on
Correct.
with why.
I wonder how many G's that would.
The F-35 is a high-speed plane, but I don't think it's also submersible.
No, it is not. It's not.
Well, it is, but it won't last for long.
There are more planes in the ocean than there are submarines in the sky.
Oh, by far.
You guys just now looking what I've highlighted?
Oh, yeah. I'm just now seeing it because there might be something brewing.
Airplanes are nothing more than fucking cloud lice. Aw, kitten.
Shouldn't that 8-hour shift have been a 2-hour shift?
Trying to
The
figure out how you
longest
got
an
8
Air
hours.
Force person has done in a while.
It was an Air Force story, wasn't it?
You guys ever seen that fucking cartoon with the Air Force about? It's basically like I think it's like Army, Air Force, something. And everything's like talk about this sucks, and like the Army guys like sitting in a foxhole. It's a drawing of a soldier guy sitting in a foxhole and it's raining. It's like this sucks. You know, like the Navy one is like going on deployment. It says this sucks, and then he's got like the Marines doing something, and he's got this sucks. And then he's got the fucking Special Forces guys chomping down on the fucking snake, and he goes, this sucks. And then you got the very bottom, it's an Air Force guy sitting in the fucking lounge chair, pointing at the TV, and it's going click, click, click. It says, this sucks.
That sounds about right.
It's a very fucking old commercial. Cartoon. It's fucking, it's kind of hard. It's a classic one.
Oh, have you guys heard the latest about General Mattis?
What now?
That apparently he's the most overrated general in the entire world. That's according to the commander-in-chief. Because General Mattis spoke up about that we shouldn't have pulled out of Syria.
There you go. We now have the name of the whistleblower.
That reminds me of a story. I don't know how old it is, but I recently heard it. A rear admiral, I think it was, from the Coast Guard that was caught on a security camera in a sex toy shop stealing a dildo.
Oh yeah, yeah. I shared the Angry Cops video about that.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's where I saw it from. Oh, we gotta put a link to that video in the chat because that's just fucking awesome. So, and it's coming from an awesome YouTuber. That makes it even better.
All right.
Yeah, investigate that one, CID.
All right. So while
NCIS.
Yeah. Well, no, that would fall under Coast Guard. So okay, while you are looking up that link, Bo, to share in the chat, Jay, I just gave you a link to a video that is about to go live. Go ahead.
In 9 minutes.
Yep. Go ahead and screen share internally before bringing it up to the panel. May have an invitation for a live response to it. This is what I had going on in the background while I was slightly delayed.
Well, I'm all tittle.
Okay, so you want me to share my screen or what?
Yeah. Share your screen of that page so people can, so the panel can see what the title of the video is.
What the fuck is this?
Timmy.
Is this going to be another train wreck followed by a dumpster fire?
Probably. Well, here's the thing.
Now Houston.
Here's the thing. This is coming from someone that, of these topics, has actually been on the proper side of things. So there might not be much of an actual response to be made. However, a couple of the topics that appear to be coming up, I have personal knowledge of. So if something is said in there and anyone has questions, I can answer them. So
Shall I open up the reply here?
Oh, there's
7 replies.
Well, hang on. So before we get into that, that person who left that comment, I have a particular request to every time I see them, and they run away from it. So this could be interesting.
Spackles or?
Yeah.
Oh.
So.
Oh, yeah. Dope.
Yep. So go ahead and
see
scroll
here.
down.
I just wanted to. I seen it, quote unquote, take her name out of there, but I'm okay. There it is. I just wanted to.
Yep. Oh. Yeah.
I'm just looking at
this is
Brown's
good.
recommended video selection feed on the right side. I'm just looking at what he likes to look at.
Nice.
Quite a lot.
Ooh. Okay.
I'm glad I'm on my phone where this is really beating where I can't read it. I'm just going by the oohs and ahs. I see Chesh has got into it.
Oh yeah. So what does the panel say? Should we or should we leave it up to the audience to decide as well?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't know how long ago someone found out about this video, but have the first person to be mentioned in the title been notified?
The first person is aware. The second person in the title is the one who brought it to my attention about 10 minutes ago.
Okay.
Which is why, again, I'm open for it because, again, that middle thing I have firsthand knowledge of. And the people who are going to be pissed off by this video do not like that fact.
Well,
so
I got a question though.
So let's
is
get
there no thumbnail?
No idea.
Well,
No.
sometimes it just gets messed up, so
yeah.
I wouldn't put anything into that though.
By
the way,
it's fucking YouTube. But hang on, Bo.
Yeah,
we are in a time crunch. Hang on a second.
Right. Yeah.
Let's get a yay or nay vote from the panel going down. So at the top, yeah. All right. You know what? Fine. I'll start with you. You wished. Yay or nay?
I'm neutral in this. No vote.
Have you been paying attention?
Yes, I've been paying attention. I have personal dealings with the EWD, so no vote. I can't. I'm biased.
Okay, so no, I'm personally involved too. I'm going to concede to popularity on this one.
Not to the level.
So you're
not
saying
to the
nay.
level I am.
So
I can't vote.
So you are saying nay.
Yep. Well, I'm saying no vote for me.
That's a nay. Furball. Yay or nay?
I'm going to abstain as well because I've got to take off soon and take care of some stuff.
Okay, then yeah, you actually don't count. Bo, yay or nay?
Although I am biased because one of the people. Well,
let's
channel,
just admit it. We're all fucking biased in some way on it. Yay or nay? Are we going to do a live response?
I'm saying yay. No issues there.
Okay. Tech.
Sure, why not?
Yay. Geistview.
Present, not voting, but sure if you want to.
Pig, have you been paying attention?
Ha! Oh, sorry.
What?
Notice I didn't ask him for an answer. I asked if he was paying attention. And by the delayed response, that's a no. Okay. Aussie Baller, what about you?
Yep.
Yay?
Yay.
Okay. Jay?
I'm still sharing the screen, aren't I?
Yes. Okay, so that's 5-1. And let me go ahead and do this. So, scroll up and show the title. Audience, what do you think? Should we go ahead and keep watching this and comment as needed once it goes live in 3 minutes?
And the message I put in the internal chat goes for everyone, of course. But I was just thinking, that person I tagged would have the best possibility to do it. Sorry.
Let the audience speak up. So yeah, here we go. It's a video from Anti-Ordinary, otherwise known as Demi, talking about the Steve McRae, Red's rhetoric, and other bullshit that's been coming from a particular group of people. So if you want us to do a live reaction and keep going, put a 1 in the chat. Any other response will be a no. And got the delay.
For me with this whole thing, I really haven't been following it that much, so I'm just kind of on the sidelines.
Yeah, knowing Demi and everything, you'll get some decent information.
Red Eye, spot on.
Yeah, Red Eye. That's probably
Red Eye with a rim shot.
Hey, before this gets started, I'm going to dip out and go take care of some things. I will see you guys tomorrow for Kanar with Damar.
All right,
The
have fun.
PX isn't closing yet.
Don't forget to have your notes ready.
Yeah, I'll have my notes, and I'll be working on screenshots this afternoon.
All right, later.
Later.
All right. So
Well, we have 2 1s in the live chat. 3 1s, 4 1s.
A bunch. So
5, 6.
Yeah, notice who one of those ones is, by the way, in the live chat.
Yeah, fascinating, huh?
I gotta step away from the mic for a second.
Wait, Jared. I meant to say that particular one.
NA with the wrecking of the boat. 8675309, the most infamous phone number in the world.
No, we're not trying to get a hold of Jenny. We don't want to upset Forrest.
So is Jenny Jesse's girl?
You know, I think she is.
You know, that would make sense. All right, so the comments on that video already. By the way, because I know holy dipshit is going to come.
Oh, it premiered in 45 minutes.
What?
It just got pushed back. You, Demi, you bitch. I love you.
She was listening in to us and didn't want us wrecking her premiere by commenting over here about it.
And you weird Americans, it was pushed forward, not back in time. But, pet peeve.
Okay, I see the issue. The video is still uploading and rendering, which is why she delayed it.
That could be it.
Yeah.
Yep.
By the way, I will reduce the time ASAP when YouTube stops fucking me. The video is uploaded. I don't know what is life. So it's probably still in the processing.
I was starting to wonder if you were going to make another Who's a Bitch, Jared.
Oh no!
I did that already. We just
Hey, Who's a Bitch? That sounds like another bomb. Missile.
No, wait a minute. You wished you weren't paying attention at the beginning of the show.
I wasn't. I was distracted by a set of lips between a specific set of legs.
You weren't paying.
Start of the show.
You weren't paying attention at the beginning of the show. Then I guess we have another bitch-made person today.
Oh, fuck you.
Yep. You wished. Your homework is to go to my channel and watch this video.
I'll go to your channel and watch the latest one. Oh,
Yep.
Public Apology. Okay. All right. I know which one to look for. I'll do that after
I need to check the I need to check the stats on this one though.
You know, I saw that and I've been meaning to go watch it, but I haven't. I will be honest on that.
It is something in particular was posted this last weekend by Avi Ameni. And I just had to ask the question. So time to go to beta.
Beta cuck?
Nope.
Okay.
YouTube beta. Close enough though.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, it might as well be.
Not much beta to it anyway. It's been like that for how many years now?
Oh, no.
That's odd. I don't remember
practically
getting
without
notification of
changing.
a comment on it. Oh yeah, I do. I remember that. I usually can spot out Sydney Watson. How did I miss that? How did I not notice it was her? Oh, well. Whatever.
She seems like she'd be fun to hang out with.
She would be.
That's why I pointed it out to you, Jay.
Yeah, no, I know. It's like I wouldn't. Hell, I follow her on Instagram, and I don't follow hardly anybody there.
If you go back to the same time period, she actually released a video around the same time because the two of them
They
tried
all
to
were.
go. Yeah, they tried to go to America. And
Yeah, I know.
I
know all about that. I think I made a video about that too.
I'm just going through the comments for that premiere. I love Holy Spackle's first response to Unirock. That's spot on.
Yeah, that is kind of funny actually.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with it, but I do find it kind of funny actually.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the kind of guy that can find, stupid comments that are somewhat racist or ignorant to be funny without agreeing with it. So, yeah. But I'm not exactly opposed to it.
I'm keeping... Well, hang on a second. I will do it this way. And what I just said will stay here on the panel, which is why I had the audio muted for the public.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, I just replied to Holy Spackle's comment. I wonder what type of reaction it'll get, if any, from her.
Super chat.
Woo! With no message, we got another $10 from NANA. You, sir, are awesome, which reminds me, I'm going to have to get in touch with you next time I go riding up towards Boston.
You got to say it right, though. It's not Boston.
Yeah, it is. It's Boston.
It's Boston.
No. See, that's the fucked. That's actually one of the fucked up things about it. They actually elongate the O.
Huh. Yeah. It's just a weird dialect.
Yes. Keep in mind, it's Boston Harbor. The A's get elongated like you were thinking. The AH. Yeah.
NANA, I know that. I was making a joke about the fact that the two songs are basically the same idea.
Yeah, but how do we know they weren't collaborating on the two songs to, I don't know, have a tongue-in-cheek tie-in to each other?
Yeah. And while I have a few minutes of not screen sharing, I'm going to take care of some personal business.
You're going to go rub one out, just admit it.
No. Unlike Pig, I would actually do that I would do that with the audio going, so. Hell, I'd even share the video audio with you, too.
Yeah, YouTube might not like that, though.
Well, it could have been
I didn't
worse.
say I would do it live on a stream. I said I'd do it for you guys, you know.
Oh, fair.
That's different.
Oh, fair point. Fair point.
Because sharing's caring.
Hey,
that
you don't
kind
get
of video
qualified by
is
not
something
bringing
I would-
tobacco underway and brand new porn.
Actually, that kind of video, I would use that as a weapon, just like showing someone my my girlfriend's mother or something. Okay, that's a running joke in Denmark, and maybe it doesn't work overseas. I'm not sure.
Yeah, some things are lost in translation.
Yeah. Yeah, for example, sheep do not give birth to sheep. Sheep gives birth to
lambs.
Well, yeah, that one. Man, that one went on for a long time. For lamb. Yeah, trying to translate that thing. Yep.
I had some pornos that bring on deployment on video 8, and sometimes we'd go out to sea and they'd get handed off, and I wouldn't see him again until we came back 3-4 months later.
Not even Super 8.
They'd make the rounds to the crew,
Well, yeah, see that
the rounds multiple times. You mean?
Yes.
Well, see, that was before the electronic sharing media was more easily accessible.
Yeah, but it's real, and back then it was really annoying to have those sticky tapes trying to shove them into your VCR.
Oh no, the tape wasn't the bad one. It's the people who had the reading material, which oddly enough you would only have the occasional khaki who would get annoyed with it, the occasional chief who would actually want to confiscate it. But you know what? That shit never ended up in the trash.
For some odd reason.
In fact, the last deployment, I asked everybody to put their name in the insert in it, and
just to see how far around it got.
Just to see where it went around, and
so one of those custody lists.
One of them went through the goat locker, went by the chief of the boat, made it up as far as the XO.
Wow.
Why did I not ever think of that with the DVDs?
You know, and see, that's the thing, is you would end up having quite the conversations when you came to movie preference and choice of even picking which scene you preferred. As there was a seemingly benign movie that was on a regular rotation during the night check on the boat, that at first it's like, why the hell are they showing that movie? And then I actually watched it and understood why. The movie Stick It.
Stick It.
These were full porno movies. I copied them to Sony video 8 format, the little cassette type, cassette size videotape.
VCR. Yep.
Yeah.
Which
you guys did not have a teetotaler of a captain then, because my captain, oh my God, he'd have lost his shit on this.
Do you really think a skipper of an aircraft carrier could actually successfully pull off that kind of attitude when you're forward deployed to Japan?
Or the skipper of any submarine ever?
Yeah, even a captain has his limits.
I'm glad I had no idea what you were talking about.
I was East Coast, so my captain was completely he was completely a teetotaler.
Well, I'm sorry that you were unfortunate enough to be stationed so close to DC.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's why.
Where's Furball when I need to ask him a question?
Oh,
is this an accurate? Is this an accurate photo of the Army, guys?
Well, let's see.
Oh shit!
I'm just glad they got rid of the fucking ECUs and they finally went to the fucking those things. Because I've gone through the BDUs, through the ACUs, and then I went through those. I'm glad they fucking got those things.
Oh, I feel another link from Angry Cops channel again.
Oh, Angry Cops is already he's already done it regarding the uniform change.
Exactly. That's the one I was
Here
thinking
you go,
about.
Jared.
Just sticking a link in there.
Oh, it is so true for the unwanted stepchild of the bunch. Hey, happy birthday! Wait, what do you mean it was 2 months ago?
Damn it.
Yeah, they may be the stepchild, but they bust their ass when they have to. So.
Oh yeah, all the branches.
What about this headline?
But you have to rip on the different forces that are not one's own. It's in the manual.
I'm just saying. Because I'm growing up as a Coast Guard brat up in Alaska during the the 70s and 80s. The Coast Guard up there were missions and doing ALPATs and stuff like that and rescues. That was a whole different time back then.
Oh yeah, not just the pilots, but the not the winchmen, but the guys that went into the water. Oh yeah,
rescue swimmers.
Rescue swimmers. They are tough assholes. They are really something extra. Really cool.
Oh snap!
What?
Climate change from Ian Miles Chong. Climate change activists raid a burger joint and harass the workers. Neither the employees or the police are having it. People are fed up with Extinction Rebellion. The thing is this was done at an In-N-Out. And one of the employees physically grabbed the protester, carried him outside, and now they're locking the doors.
Yeah, you don't fuck with In-N-Out.
No.
That's how you get some Californians pissed off at you.
Double animal all the way.
Oh, fuck. I can't stand cheeseburger shit.
I've kind of noticed that In-N-Out Burger is kind of the Whataburger of California.
No, In-N-Out Burger is just its own thing. It does not compare to anyone else.
Did you say water burger?
Whataburger.
Okay, because I've heard that a term similar to that. One that is really bland and doesn't really taste of anything. So.
Jared, no, that's White Castle.
Jared, you know that tweet that I sent you about Tulsi?
Yeah.
I have just found the ultimate response to the whole thing.
Oh, God.
It is so true. So CNN and other pundits have really been pushing Elizabeth Warren.
Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris are the two main candidates being pushed by the quote-unquote mainstream media. And Tulsi Gabbard is pretty liberal in her own right, but she's also a vet. If I remember correctly, she is a veteran, and she's very much the anti-war type of veteran. That's like, look, I've served here. I'm done with this shit. Let's get it over with. And that's the main part of her platform is I want to get us out of all these foreign wars, and let's actually focus on rebuilding our society first before we start expanding out again.
She is an 04 in a medical unit in the reserves. The National Guard in Hawaii.
Yeah,
she's not working very hard.
Well, I thought she actually did some active duty time before she became an officer.
Yeah, that was for a year or two. Then she went green to gold. But then she's been hiding. Then she's been in the National Guard in Hawaii, and she's now a major. So I guarantee you she's not actually working that fucking hard. So I don't think she's a doctor or anything like that. So I'm guaranteed she's working in the S1 shop, which is the personnel. I mean, I'm not trying to disown her service, but it just,
no, I know what you mean. I'm not.
It's like JM Truth when he fucking puts out combat veteran. It just irks me when I fucking actually get the details behind it.
No, I understand. I don't know enough about her story, so I'm not trying to say one way or the other.
No, she's fine. I don't know. She's. I mean, I wouldn't vote for her, but she's. Yeah, but she is National Guard out of Hawaii, and she is a major, and she's attached or she's assigned to a medical unit. And then if you know what a major does in a medical unit, who's not a doctor or a physician or like that, they really don't do shit.
Yeah. Well, I also have a friend who's a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force as a pediatric doctor. I saw more. I was closer to combat than he probably ever was. So.
But I have respect for her. But I have respect for her being.
Tulsi was deployed to Iraq in 2004 for like a year. So.
Yeah.
Yes, in a medical unit.
Well, like I said, the fact that she is trying, or her platform is to get us out of these places, is commendable. Not saying that I would vote for her, but
Yeah,
she has a hard and fast base that is getting pretty pissed off with the mainstream media, and apparently she came out and did a tirade against Hillary Clinton earlier today. So
yeah, well, because Hillary Clinton fucking kicked over that fire, and now it's spread. So because Clinton started it. Because people are saying that Tulsi, even like I said, with the military service in which she is, that she's actually a Russian plant. So that kind of pisses me off.
Yeah, this is supposed, and I can't verify this yet.
Oh yeah, it
but
started.
This is her the time that they were given. And notice how the very socialist progressive type is actually in red. I wonder if there's some hidden meaning there.
Something that I would like to know is that these debates, or where they had this time measured, was it a friendly conversation kind of a deal, or did they argue? Did the moderator have to step in, or because that would
the political debates are not like what you're used to seeing like on non-sec or anything. These are usually some media personality asks a question and gets to, with these
pick
primary
and choose
debates,
who answers.
Yeah, they pick and choose who answers, and then they try to get X number of people in a certain amount of time. The candidates are supposed to have X amount of time to answer each question.
Yeah, equal.
And certain ones get extended privileges in how long they have to answer. So,
which is not. What?
Yeah,
which is not
good.
fair unless it's a person with a speech impediment. That would be fair then.
Looks like it's about to go live,
Carrie,
Jay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm pulling it up right now.
I'm gonna ask.
I hate that
fucking music.
When do they actually allow people to choose their own?
They don't.
Video stuff. No, but when? Hopefully.
Never. It's YouTube.
Oh,
they will break the system before it does.
Yeah, look at Auntie's comment on the live chat, the latest one.
Okay, so I'm actually recording this as well as sharing it to you guys.
Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. If you are new here, I have a bird. He is being very loud, aren't you today, baby? Hi. Hi. Oh, there we go.
God damn it, pig.
You figured it out. You can do it. You're a brave boy. Oh. Hi. Thank you. You're a very good bird.
Put a towel over it. In the cage.
Okay, good morning and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. If you are new here, I have a bird and he is going to be making commotion because that's what he likes to do.
Just let me know when you want me to pause it.
They are lovely, but they are really fucking annoying sometimes, especially when you need to do things. Yes, we can hear you, Zazu. Okay.
See, at this point, we can just talk over it, though.
That's true. If you want, I can bump up the volume a bit.
If anything, at this point, I would say down a little.
I would turn it down, yes.
Okay.
It's horribly annoying.
How's that?
That's not her fault, though.
I have been awake since 8 o'clock. I didn't go to sleep until 3 o'clock. So here's my deal today. I'm here. Crack of dawn,
yeah, local.
The sun is rising. I decided that I'm going to just go over all of the information I have managed to glean
Get to the fucking point.
On that information, and you
She's
can
like
do
me,
with that
on that
opinion
point.
as you like. You
I
can
know.
take it, you can leave it, you can throw it in the bin, you can call me a fucking whatever the fuck you want to call me.
Until you get triggered.
There you go, that's the deal. Full disclosure,
Okay,
I am
Jimmy,
going to
come
be
on.
talking about the Steve McRae rape apologetic situation, the accusation, talking about the video, because I didn't realize like how deep this whole bullshit goes, how deep this
All right,
goes.
who are we
Who's
getting the
listening
echo
in the
from?
background?
Yeah, who's doubling?
Let me get myself a drink.
Is that you, Peter?
Be friends with Steve McRae, that could indeed cloud
There we
my
go.
judgment of the situation. I like to think that I don't have loyalty to that degree. I like to think that if my friends do something wrong, Steve, everyone I'm friends with can come and say, even if they don't agree with me, I'll tell them I don't agree with them.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Could respond saying, oh, well, she's just doing this as a defense of her friend, whatever. The real reason I'm doing this is because this has been on non-stop everyone's Twitter line for like the last month, more than that probably. And it's kind of annoying.
More or less.
I already kind of found it annoying when it was just the Steve McRae situation, but now it's involved Red's rhetoric. And speaking of Red's rhetoric, I am not friends
Quit
with
fucking
Red
with your hair.
I haven't really had very much communication with him outside of dealing with this very specific topic. So I don't have any investment into Reds. The only kind of connection
come
I
on,
have
Demi.
to Reds is that I'm friends with someone he
Duran?
is really close to. That's about it. And even that hasn't led us to meet or talk to each other. I just know we're connected in that roundabout way. But
I'll get that sound clip later, LRJ88.
get it out of the way, so it's clear that I do have friends in this situation.
I wonder what
Get
you
on
mean.
with it!
Maybe parts that I haven't looked at properly.
Yeah, get on
Another disclaimer would be that all of this information I'm giving you is subject to change.
She talks worse than I do.
That I have not got all the information correctly. It's possible I do not have all the facts and evidence, and I'm just assessing based on the information I have currently, which, believe it or
Covering
not,
one's
I
ass
have
is what that's called.
What? No,
Disclaimer.
it's a
Disclaimer.
proper disclaimer, and I give people credit for that.
Seemingly forthcoming
Yeah.
with that information, and only one of them made this process easy for me,
Okay,
which
come
may
on.
make it more biased because I only have substantial information and evidence from one side.
The side
So you
that's
do
not
or you
mine.
don't?
I messaged Exiled, some woman who seems really active relating to this topic on Twitter. She's come into my DMs. We've spoken multiple times about
Holy
this
jump cut.
situation. We've spoken about my own issues and current dramas.
Oh,
and
think
whatever
about how
may be.
long this would be
But
going
I'm
on if Demi
not friends with
didn't do
Exiled
that.
Either. We're
I know.
acquaintances in the same way that I'm now acquaintances with Red. So I messaged Exile because she's the most active that I see on Twitter, trying to convey these issues in
Okay,
This is why I practice it before I record it.
Yeah.
I didn't really get very much information. I did try, so we're gonna.
She's worse than I am trying to get to a point.
What I'm doing today is just to get ready with me while we examine the bullshit.
All right.
That is
All right, let's get to it then.
I initially
Stop putting your webcam in your mirror.
and it really goes apparently far further back than
Is this like a hair thing going on or what?
Because Steve McRae
It's probably to help focus.
consider to be a bad decision, and hosted a convicted rapist on his channel. There's no other way to put it. That's just what he did.
Yep. Facts of the matter. Yep.
Now,
Also, he served his time.
in that statement alone, I was
Yep.
already kind of like, Steve, the fuck? But like I said, me and Steve are friends at this point in our relationship, so I
For now.
thought I owed him at least a little bit of respect to not jump to the gun and to the conclusion and to go and message him and try to understand at least his position, because as a person who's dealt with and suffered and survived sexual abuse, emotional abuse, and trauma,
God damn it, Mo.
to have someone I consider to be a
The
friend
bird finally shut up.
seemingly defending a convicted rapist.
Which is
That
not what he
was
did.
not a fun experience for me. That wasn't something I was enjoying, and that's essentially what drove me to get involved. I'm going to get into our conversation between me and Steve by the end of the video. I want to just
Who's
go
warden?
over the Rick situation.
He's the convicted rapist that was on Steve's channel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't remember names.
Yeah, which even then, the guy's criminal history was only tangentially connected to the topic that Steve had him on there for.
Clearly a fucking history.
I can understand bringing it up and questioning his bias
Yeah.
against the police. I can see that.
Oh, yeah.
But the overall argument that was being or the topic being discussed, it was barely relevant.
Yeah. And
What was that topic, by the way?
Police auditing.
Policing police auditing.
So-called First Amendment auditing. Yeah. Although I wouldn't call it that. But,
Okay, go ahead and pause it for a second. So a little bit over there that I heard that we kind of missed and talked over was Demi had mentioned that the group who's going against Steve on that also had history and didn't like what happened during a particular former member of the community's funeral. That's where my personal and direct connection comes in. So, yeah, you guys out there, you know who you are. You're about to get fucked. Go ahead and play it.
Hating each other. It seems to be a mix between the breaking up of and we're going to try and touch everything a little bit as possible. But it seems to stem from the Great Debate. It seems to stem from the Great Debate community's breakup and the resulting subgroup. So what I gleaned from Steve, and also it seems to follow with what Exiled says, unless I'm misunderstanding the situation, is that Steve stated that he started the Great Debate community channel, and the Great Debate community didn't have any owners, didn't have any leaders. It was just like a group community-based event. I don't know how what you call it. But no one owned the rights to the wrong controversy. No one owned the rights to
she's almost up there.
Within his rights to use the Great Debate community to build a channel. Apparently, there became some tensions about finances, about Steve was unwilling to relinquish any control or finances over the channel. People within the Great Debate community felt entitled to the channel or to at least some kind of input and control over the channel and the finances.
No, that's what they wanted. They wanted to be paid. There was a group of people that were involved in the GDC who wanted to be paid from what the GDC channel was generating once it was able and got monetized. That's what they wanted. They didn't want control. They didn't want a creative bit to it. They wanted to get fucking paid.
All right.
And the others felt like the effort they were putting in to building the community, to maintaining it, to having whatever their community was based around, they felt like their work or their efforts were going
Oh, shit. She did not just say that to Steve.
And so, because of that, the group seemingly split up. Now, that goes on for a whole long time of like revenge and people hating people and all kinds of stuff. It's like fucking Game of Thrones, real fucking talk. I haven't even seen Game of Thrones. So that's kind of like a background onto the whole Steve McRae situation. They both hate each other, so I think
it's atheism plus 2014 all over again.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Issues. They kind of use that as a driving motivator
Triple X
for
in
any
the chat too now.
controversy. That's just what it seems to be, because it doesn't seem very rational. Like, controversy doesn't matter. If you have a problem, if you have a dissenting opinion against anyone, then that doesn't
So
matter.
what?
And then you have to be able to have those disagreements in a way that is conducive. Unless you're like me and you just want to tell someone, you're a cunt, you're dumb, you're wrong, I don't care, and you're not even interested in having a discussion with people like that, then
Which is sometimes the best way to
completely
handle it.
different. Whenever there's these dramas and I'm trying to get to the bottom of it with one of their group, it always comes back to, we don't like Steve, blah blah blah, the great debate community, and everyone's entitled to how they feel on that. I honestly haven't done enough research to be able to give a valid opinion. All I know is if the story goes as I've heard it, and that is what I've described, then Steve was entitled to that channel, whether it has the great debate community name on it or not, because no specific person in that group owned the great debate community. So anyone was entitled. You could have yourself, YouTube is one of these platforms where you can have multiple accounts with the same username. You could have yourself created a great debate community YouTube channel to compete with Steve and won that way. I don't know, that's just kind of my
Oh,
brief opinion
Dark
on
Seed.
the very little bullshit I know about that situation. I'm guessing, sorry, my boobs are growing and they're really itchy. I can't help
Okay.
it.
Yep. Nope, we got it.
Fast forward a bit.
Thank-
Oh yeah,
thanks for
probably
the
should
info.
start getting that ready.
Oh, she's pumping
So
your first
last
ball.
night I was sat trying to interview everyone. I tried to interview Exiled. I tried to interview Reds. I tried to speak to anyone that knows difficult for myself to gain any actual useful information. So a lot of what I'm about to say comes directly from Red's rhetoric, because unfortunately I don't like it, but unfortunately Reds was the only one willing to provide me with what is seemingly evidence. What I'm saying now,
I wonder why that is.
mostly Red's take on it. Red's take on the event. So
Let's hope she blanked out the name
Reds is
of a certain
living
person.
with a friend, and he had to move out, so he went and lived with a new friend. It was apparently it was an uncomfortable, unpleasant experience to be living with this person, according to Red's rhetoric. Apparently at that time, Vince and Red, I don't know Vince's online tag.
Is this a makeup thing going on or what?
Yeah.
I mean, fucking nuts.
I believe Vince and Reds work at the
She does
same
that sometimes.
the same job.
Vince's screen name at the time, at least,
While they
Shadow
worked at this
Tier.
job, Vince went and started talking shit about Red's mental health situation, about his emotional well-being, about all kinds of really personal information that you don't go and share about a person to their co-workers at the very least, but period. It wasn't simply Vince sharing information that Reds had given to him in confidentiality, but it was also complete bullshit, apparently. Now, we can only take one person's. This is essentially Red's side of the story, so we have to kind of take it as that.
Pause it.
I've tried to get...
Here's the thing. It's not just Red's side of the story. For those who don't know, Reds and I are actually really good friends. Like, the way he let me know was actually by direct messaging my phone. He and I are friends. We've hung out together offline. So there is that personal connection here. I remember when that shit with Vince was going down, Reds was rip shit pissed because Vince had gone to a mutual coworker and was talking shit about how Reds was behaving, how he was acting, and even going so far as to say, well, I know he's licensed to carry and has a gun. I don't feel safe and don't think he should have it. Like,
oh, is he trying to enact like a red flag law on Reds or something?
Kinda, yeah. Yeah, was really pushing that edge. And it got to the point where at one time, then this was the final straw, the safe that Red kept his gun in was relocated. His gun was relocated out of his room, and Vince was the one who admitted to doing it. And Red actually ended up calling me, pissed the fuck off, and was asking, how do I handle this? And this is where I suggested to him, is like, if you cannot trust your roommates in that fashion, and with everything that's gone on, the only question I have is, how quickly can you leave?
Or at the very, very minimum, use the non-emergency phone number for the police. Or if it was that bad, 911. But
yeah, there are other ways Vince could have done it, but at the same time, my advice to Red, which is what he took, was he figured out a way he could get out of there with minimal conflict and as quickly as he could. And here's the kicker that Vince took offense with, is Vince tried to spin it that Red never paid what he owed. For the amount of time that Red was there as a non-listed sublease, so Red wasn't on the lease of the place, Red wasn't on the rental agreement, Red was there to help Vince out and the other roommate that was there. Red paid for more months than he was physically in that location.
Yeah, I remember the shit about that.
Yep. And it was spun that Red just left him high and dry, which is an absolute bullshit claim. So, back to it.
Accounts of the other side of the story by people who are being vocal about this situation.
All right, who's trying to eat something?
If you're being vocal about this situation, and you're not like me giving disclaimers that you're just giving opinions on what you're coming across, then I assume you should know what you're talking about. So essentially, Red lived with this person. He had consistent issues with this person, sharing confidential information, just generally not being a good person in
seriously doing her makeup.
Red's opinion.
Some people need the distraction.
Someone called Jade West's funeral. Now, I don't know Jade West. I'm sorry she died. That was a little bit fake. I don't know her. People die every single day. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I just don't want to be disingenuous. There was this woman called Jade West, a part of the community, who has passed away for reasons I'm not quite sure of, and I didn't go into because it wasn't something I was particularly interested in, let's be honest. During this time, everyone's arranging a funeral trip to celebrate. You know what you do on funerals is your friend, they've passed away, you're going to go do that stuff. So they made funeral plans to go and travel, go and meet each other and all these kinds of things. And Red still wanted some form of closure from his friendship with Jade. So as a compromise to himself, I'm assuming, he said that he was going to go on this trip, but he wasn't going to engage with anyone in relation to the trip. And his reason for that was, during living with Vince, he had moved out, and I have seen financial documents that seemingly support his claims. Now, I don't know how much the agreement was for rent. I don't know what the timing agreement was for. I don't know if there was some other situation I'm not aware of in the background that somehow makes these finances misleading, but I've seen them, which is why I would just want to say thank you to Reds, because he made this whole situation just really easy for me to try to understand, which is, to me, always a sign. Like me, whenever I get into trouble, drama, whatever you want to call it, on YouTube, I post everything on YouTube. Every little fucking DM that proves my case, every little...
Pause it for a second. There was another facet beyond just the issue with Vince. There was personal meddling that had gone on. So during that funeral trip, Red was there to pay his final respects to Jade, and as a side trip, he had scheduled time to meet up with another YouTube content creator who lived out there. That was his plans. That was it. He did not want any undue stress or drama from dealing with these people. He was not there to party with them. He was not there to hang out with them. He was there to say his final goodbyes to Jade and do this one other thing in addition to it. There was a message that Red had drafted that I had gone over and looked at where he explained this to them. This message was given to Fiona Robertson to propagate out to everyone to give them the heads up. Red's worked his tail off for financial reasons to make sure that certain people could even make it to the funeral. And of all those people, not a single one of them respected his wishes while he was there. Play.
Because someone that's telling the truth doesn't need to hide anything.
Hey, hit pause for a second. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and hang it up. I'm gonna try and set up for some observations tonight, so I'm gonna get things ready.
Yep.
So
later, guys.
Later, guys.
Bye. Later, chat.
My communication with Red
Hey,
was
guys.
that he seemingly was forthcoming with almost everything. Now, that could be like manipulation to that information or any number of situations, but just as it stands. So when Reds decided to move out, apparently this left Vince in financial struggle. Now, so Reds disputes the financial severity of the situation. And after Red had left, they seemingly went on what I would consider a smear campaign, or at the very least, a misinformed dissemination of information. So in these finances that Red has shown me, they are all PayPal screenshots. They have Vincent's name in there, so it's quite clearly, whether it's misleading, I don't know. I'm not smart enough to make that kind of judgment call. I've seen the receipts, and in some of these receipts, it shows that Reds had paid for rent 2 months in advance. He paid for rent twice in 1 week in some instances. There was a lot of situations that seemingly... There's a lot of information that seemingly suggests that Reds was doing his part, was paying his rent, was paying more than he needed to, and that just seems to be the case. So any speculation that Reds hadn't fulfilled his... there could be all kinds of reasons why I'm wrong in that statement, but seemingly with the only evidence I currently have to hand, Reds did in fact pay his rent. Reds did in fact meet his obligations and done more than meet his obligations. We're going to get to the part where I respond to videos and clips and all kinds of shit in a second. I'm just trying my hardest to get this all put up. Yeah, Reds moved out of this situation, and according to Reds, this person he was sharing a house with wasn't financially stable. No judgment, look at me. So yeah, all of these accusations had gone off, that he had stolen money from his housemate, that he hadn't paid his rent, that there was all these kinds of bad behaviors coming from Reds. So Red's feeling like this was a character assassination, or feeling like this wasn't accurately representing the situation and they are attacking him with accusations that are really quite damaging and not acceptable, he decided that he is not going to associate with them anymore. He is not going to deal with them anymore, and that is the end of their friendship, their engagement. And Reds wanted to go to Jade's funeral for himself, for his own sense of closure, to get a moment of memory and things like that. To be honest, anyone is allowed to go to a funeral and mourn for whatever the fuck reason they want to. No one has the right to question that. and that's just my opinion. He wanted to go, but he also knew that the people making these false and harmful accusations against him were also going to be there. So he wanted to make the position and his situation known in this group. So I'm going to show you his a screenshot was Red's response, and then he's like, attention everybody. As we all know, we are all going to this trip to pay our final respects today. I want it to be clear that I am only going on this trip for that purpose. I will also be working to make sure that everybody can pay their final respects. Jade deserves nothing but the best, and I plan on doing my part. However, I must ask for something of the group. This isn't against one person, but an effort to ensure a drama-free trip. I do ask that everyone respect my personal space, and if I wish to be left alone, please respect that. If I am not in a talkative mood, please respect that. If I ask for space, please don't take it as an offense. My goal is to arrive, make sure that my part goes smoothly, then leave. I'm not doing this to make a statement or to insult or offend anyone. I would just like my space respected while I mourn the loss of a good friend. If you have any questions, you're free to ask me privately.
All right, pause it. Does anyone see any problem with that message?
Nope.
Oh.
Not at all.
We'll talk about that or not, but
So
definitely people have this in their
apparently
head.
they did. All right.
All right, who's watching the Uni Rock?
That'd be Peter. Go ahead, Bly.
Sorry.
How can you be any more mature?
Just talk to me if you're my members. Tell me what you want to see us
than
cover next
that.
week.
Like, if you're not willing to compromise your values and fake it while you're there for the funeral, I thought that was a very, very reasonable, respectable message to give to the people who you're going to be in attendance with, so that you don't turn. You all don't know my family, right? Of course you don't. But if you went to my last funeral, this family is a fucking joke, an absolute disgusting fucking joke. Not my family, my adopted family. It's a whole complicated situation, but they're a fucking joke. You go to a funeral and they make it all about themselves, and they'll get drunk and attack each other and why they hate each other and all kinds of shit. So if one of my family members would take the time to write this fucking document, this message to everyone, that would be like, I don't see how anyone can read this message as anything other than making yourself perfectly clear and making your intentions perfectly known. Apparently, Reds then goes ahead and forwards this to Fiona. Now, I don't know who Fiona is. I don't know. She's just a key character in this whole thing. She seems to be behind other people. Other people seem to be talking for her. I don't know. She's just a key character in this situation, and she isn't actually I haven't seen anything from her speaking up on this situation. So that's something to be aware of. And she is a person that was specifically there, like Exiled. Exiled is out here defending and arguing and preventing cases for a situation, but she was never
My apologies.
She is only hearing secondhand from the people that were there, or maybe even second hand, even third hand, maybe. So it's really hard to get a conclusive bang bang, these are the facts, this is right, this is wrong, you were wrong, blah blah blah. I wrote that message and sent that message to Fiona, according to Red, and Fiona responded negatively, saying, that is a bad move. This is going to result in bad things. Do not post that. I will let people know.
Pause
That's that. Reds took that, and they've gone on their.
Oh, come on, you.
So I was a part of that call. That Hangouts call was between Reds, Fiona, and myself. Fiona saw somehow that message was going to be taken badly. So she not only offered, she promised to convey the message to everyone and make sure that they knew what Red's intention was from that message. promised it to him in front of me. Failed miserably. Play it.
They have confirmed each other's stories and aspects as well, so that's what those kinds of things I'm comfortable with saying. Red's turned up. He was being a bit of a douche. I don't really consider. Can I just say though, I don't consider it being a douche. Like, if someone came and accused me of stealing $1,000 from my friend, not paying rents, and
would you guys like preliminary results?
I don't think it's a douchebag move to not want to associate with them, to not want to speak to them, and to not want to share their presence.
Let's let Demi finish.
That's just me. Maybe I am inherently a douchebag, but you're not. You don't know enough. I don't know anyone anything. When they arrive, Red's maintained this.
All right, let's break it up a little bit. What you got, Sean?
Oh, okay. Who wants preliminary results on Cold Moonlight?
Yay! Show it.
Well, I actually gave you the link in Hangout so that we can play the audio that was recorded of me walking around while I was talking about it and aiming the cameras, because I actually had the split screen cameras going.
Oh, hang on. Let me.
I'm pretty sure I can guess the results.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you can too, because the targets I was choosing haven't been exposed to moonlight yet tonight. Because the moon, the moon is only. The targets that I chose have not been hit by moonlight tonight. Not yet. They won't be hit by moonlight for about another 45 minutes to an hour. Because it's still low on the horizon. It's about 7 degrees above the horizon right now, and there's a big-ass building in front of a playground here at the apartment complex.
All right, Jay, let me know if that link works.
All right, hold on.
So now they're claiming that Steve McRae is running in the live chat. What the? Right. Okay.
Davros, this thing that they're talking about is like really, really old news. It's just now becoming public because TST is looking for more drama.
Yeah. And there are some of us who've been aware of it from, I don't know, when it fucking happened.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
A couple of days ago, plus.
Just want me to play the audio, right?
No, play the entire thing.
I just transferred this from my iPad.
Okay, I didn't want to share a video that you might be using, so.
Oh, well, if I use it later, I'll actually voice over it, so it's like I'm not out of breath from walking everywhere.
All right.
So yes, on the left side of the screen, you'll actually have the iPad's actual camera. On the right side is the thermal camera that I'm holding in hand on a 3.5-foot extension cable. Ooh. What you're looking at right here at the beginning is actually the moon in both cameras. So 1,800 feet my ass there, Sleeping Warrior.
We have the moon in the sky.
Ta-da!
Let's go down back here.
Now, at that point, I'm actually on the northeast side of the complex, and now I'm walking back into the center of the complex where there's no moonlight actually hitting anything in there.
Mm-hmm. I can.
Oh, the joys of living in an apartment complex. How I don't miss that.
Zoom in, zoom out.
Hey,
yeah, unfortunately, they share a zoom level, but yeah, both cameras share a zoom feature, but the cameras don't use the same size lens.
He's in the way of seeing the moon over here.
You're using an Android or Apple?
It's an iPad 4 mini.
Okay, I have a free app
playground over here
that I want you to try out.
But pay attention to
this. Not shining on them yet. Oh, we also have a picnic table here.
Go ahead and pause it. Do you see the picnic table there, right there in the foreground now?
Yeah.
Right now, I have it set as white is hot.
Oh, wow.
Okay, go ahead and proceed.
Oh, no. But it should be cold.
Hang on.
The moon's not shining on it yet. But let's go take a look over here because, white is hot, black is cold. So without the moon shining at all, underneath the table is hot compared to all of the ground around it.
It's almost like there's
hotter than the top of the table. Why? Because the table has open air and has nothing trapping the heat underneath it. You'll see the same thing over here at the playground. Remember, white is hot, Moon shadow is still not up yet. Underneath this table is also hot.
Ooh.
Yet, we still can't see the moon. There is no moon out yet. It won't be above those buildings for about another hour. So Sleeping Warrior and every other flat earther out there that thinks that moonlight is cooling things off and the moon shadow is hot, here you go. Underneath a tire swing. That camera there.
It's almost as if the restriction in airflow is playing a part rather than
It's a huge part of it.
But the moon has no impact
I
on
still
it
can't
at
help
all.
thinking that this moonlight is
See you when I
cooling.
get the actual magnifying glass all set up.
Is a joke that some non-science denier put out there, and they
ran with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure of it.
So Sean, how much do you like Dan the Waterman?
Well, I made one video on him because, he said something completely retarded. And I just love the fact that he's completely and totally destroyed levels of butthurt going on. It's just hilarious.
Alan, the after show that Alan Evans had on his channel, I was on the panel for it, and Dan showed up. I mentioned your name as a primer. He lost his fucking shit.
Oh my God, I bet. God's Auditor, yeah, that's the whole point of why I did the observation when I did, because the moon was still below the buildings. There was no direct moonlight anywhere on that playground. That's why I did it when I did it. I'll go back out in another hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and do it again, just to show that the ground has been steadily cooling off. But the top of the tables, those are pretty much air temperature right now. They're not going to get much colder. But yeah, Dan hears my name and he just completely flips his lid. It's hilarious to even watch happen. I'll actually watch Jose's just to wait for Dan to show up and somebody mention my name, just watch him just go nuts.
Oh, so this one, it wasn't on Jose's, it was on Alan Evans. I'll get you the link later. Might even get the rough timestamp when he comes in, but yeah, he came in, started talking with Blue Marble, and then I chime in. I'm like, wait a minute, but you're talking about this. It's like, so what? He was like, oh, I can see farther than they're claiming us. And when we got the numbers from him, I just did a quick geometric, not even accounting for refraction, just the geometric calculation. And the hidden height was below the recorded height of the target on the other end. So I was like, okay, and that shows nothing. And he got really upset with me for just listening to him. It's like, yeah, but that means nothing. Pretty much shitting all over what he was trying to say. Guess he doesn't like being shown that he's wrong.
No, not in the least. And what really gets us is I didn't know he was actually in a 6-person interview between flat earthers and scientists. Oh. I didn't know about that at the time. If I had, oh my God, he would never even be able to keep a single brain cell on a single topic if he heard my name. I would have destroyed him so much more.
Oh, I saw that video with him in it, and I think the most telling one was there was a question of, could something be possible? And out of all 3 flat earthers, only one of them thought about it enough and was like, well, yeah, anything's possible, and walked forward. And it was Shelley.
Mm-hmm.
Dan and the other dipshit were like, no. They couldn't even understand the question. I forget which one of them it was, but one of them said, what are they even asking? When you can't even understand a simple question like that, holy shit, dude.
Are you talking about JM's Shelley?
Yes.
Oh, that's her?
Yes, that's her.
Oh, God. Okay. You're trying to make me have an aneurysm.
One can only try, Sean. One can only try.
So, how conclusive is the fact that moon plays no factor in how hot or cold shadows is at this point?
Oh,
11.3 or something.
I would say on a scale of 1 to 10.
I'd give it about a 7.
No, it's a 42.
Well, no, I'd give it a 7 because I haven't followed through with the moonlight being up and hitting the targets yet, but it's already looking really bad because underneath everything was already hotter without the moon being involved at all.
Yeah, it's almost like airflow and ambient temperature play a factor.
Oh, what I should have done.
Only factors
radiating differently from different surfaces.
Well, that too. That's why I like the whole point of doing it over sand at the end of it, because it's a uniform surface. All of that was under sand or over sand. But what I should have done, and I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't do it now, is I should have actually put the camera on the ground and looked up at the bottom of the tables.
Ooh. You know what?
I just thought of that.
You know what? I know what you're going to go do, Sean. Go have fun.
No, I'm not going to do it right now. I'm going to wait until the moon's up because, it's cold outside.
No.
And
it's not like you live in the Midwest or anything.
It's 43, man.
And when the moon is supposed to rise far enough for you to actually use it, overcast.
Actually, they're expecting 5% cloud cover at midnight. Right now, cloud cover is at 0. They're expecting 5% at midnight. They're expecting 5% up until like 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, and then it's going to jump up 40 something percent. Yeah, I've already checked all the weather for the next couple of days.
Yeah, I've just taken a look at my weather for the rest of tonight and tomorrow right now. Minimal cloud cover to where they're not even putting a percentage, with a low 38. And we're almost there.
I live in Western Washington at the foot of the Olympic Mountains. Yeah, I get cloud year round now.
And before people ask when I actually do the video, the reason why I didn't use the hot and cold spot on the video is because when you're using the dual camera mode, it's still placing the hot and cold spots based on if you're using the full screen for the thermal camera. So it actually puts like either hot or cold over on the video part of the camera. So it really is confusing. So I didn't do that for the screen.
Yeah, for the testing phase, do you think it would be possible to make some sort of beacon or something? Something that can easily be pointed out both on the thermal and the optical.
So that's what I was trying to do with my best to manually line both of them up to where it would cut the screen in half.
Yeah, but if that's too difficult, I was thinking about a small LED and I don't know, a coin you've had on a hot plate for a minute or something like that.
Mike71 says I can do it on more than one night. Here's the interesting thing about today. While it's only a 3/4 moon, it didn't start to rise above the horizon until like 10:30. And now, throughout the night, it's actually going to be higher in the sky, all in one shot, all in one perfectly clear day. So I can actually keep going back out several times tonight and catch it at different times and see how much changes based on moonlight and moon shadow.
Or how much it doesn't change.
And then based on tomorrow's weather, even though I'm getting the magnifying glass and the reflecting mirror or the magnifying mirror tomorrow, it doesn't look like I'm going to have a good shot tomorrow because of the cloud cover. Day after that doesn't look good. The day after that looks like it might be a good shot. But I can already say right now, 100% for certain, that I'm showing hot spots where they would claim the moon is heating things up with its shade without the moon being present.
Yeah, it's just as stupid as people who think that they can use the contactless thermometers, what they call laser thermometers that aren't, and they use that to measure the temperature of air.
Well, here's the neat thing about the laser thermometers. The laser actually has nothing to do with it other than giving you a target. It's literally a 4-pixel thermal imaging camera. But they don't understand how it works. And you'll see them all the time using reflective things on the ground as their target.
I just use reflective things to bounce the laser off of because I'm bored.
Use CDs
I have
for
to
that.
use one for work,
Spreads
taking
nicely.
temperatures and coolers and stuff. So I get bored.
So yeah, tomorrow, hopefully I'll have a break in the weather to where I can take the glass magnifying glass out, the plastic magnifying glass out, and the metal magnifying mirror out, and get all this done in one shot, hopefully.
Okay, so Bo, thanks for that screenshot, and judging by some of the comments in there, I think it'll be better to address the actual live chat of that video after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't
Unfortunately, I'm
want to
not
say anything
capturing
because,
that. So
you know, privacy and stuff.
Let's just say some people done fucked up and they don't realize just how bad it's gonna be for them.
Mm-hmm. And how dangerous it can be for people that they have, well, endangered. Possibly endangered.
Well, you know, like I often have to remind people, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, that video is still going on?
oh, this is gonna be a long one.
Yeah, it's probably going to be like an hour long.
I just came in here to celebrate and let you be the first to see the first run of my thermal camera for the actual testing.
Oh, I can't wait to see the rest of it. It should be fascinating.
Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting. That's interesting.
I'm pretty sure that every flat earther is going to say that my video is confidential.
Or it's CGI. Well, it kind of is. Sean, I'll throw you something on Hangouts in terms of what I mentioned earlier. An app that would probably help you out in terms of the video quality.
Well, the video quality issue is this: it's actually a better resolution than the one that Sly has. He's got the same brand, but he's got one step down for the resolution. But it's also expanding it out to 1024 or 1920 by 1024.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about resolution though. I'm talking about
frame
encoding.
Rate?
Yeah, well, frame rates if you want to, but primarily the encoding part of it, the bit rates.
Mm.
Oh,
and audio control, but that probably doesn't matter here.
Oh, Sean, when you were out and about, you didn't hear about the bomb guidance system that was being developed in the 80s, did you?
Yeah, you missed something funny there.
Oh no!
I'm gonna send you the link to it on Hangouts. We read it on it. Well, I read it on air. It's a good one.
Oh, I'll read it in the morning. I don't want to deal with stupid tonight.
Oh, it's funny stupid though.
It's funny stupid. Yeah, you need to go read about the herpaderp.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There you go.
It's duffel bag level funny stupid, if not better.
Well, I'll still take a look at it in the morning. I still got to decide what times to keep running outside, back and forth, all that fun stuff. So talk to you guys later.
All right, later, Sean.
Good luck.
Ooh, now they're back. Now she's actually cut into a Google chat.
Okay, let's bring it up and actually get it to on time.
Oh, just skip it.
Yeah, just skip to live.
Okay.
Unless it messes up your recording, though.
I'm not going to record now that we've stopped. So if we're skipping ahead,
edit stuff. Hopefully, it'll stay up though.
It will. If not, well, and here's the thing: we can always download it after it's done live.
Yep. So here we go. Pressing play. Pressing premiere.
Physical appearance. Now, everyone, I've actually seen what Reds looks like. I've seen his face. I've seen his body. What they're saying just flat out isn't true. It might have been true at the time. For all I know, I didn't know Reds then. I still don't really know Reds now. But
he's an ugly motherfucker.
True. Regardless, let's say what's his name? Let's say Red's a skinny little fucking beanpole, fall down a drain pipe, skinny bitch. What does that have to do with anything?
she
Why are
has
you
to-
attacking this person who's grieving still
Sorry,
because
had
of
to.
their appearance, because of their weight? Would it be
Because
acceptable
they're jackasses.
women for their physical appearance, for their weight? I don't think it would. Not unless that person's out here attacking you for the same thing. Then it's fair game, you know? Oh yeah, it's easy to say that from behind a
Hey, Jared,
fucking,
check your Discord.
behind a fucking icon, isn't it? You little pussy.
Yep, I've seen that before.
I'm reading my message.
Yeah, do it. Do it.
People hidden behind anime avatars and fucking furry fucking characters and shit talk shit about other people's appearances. It's always fucking adorable.
Like, what is going on here?
Oh,
For those who don't know,
that's-
Red is
yeah,
like anorexic thin. He's really, really thin. Like you kind of look. You have to like do a double take.
No,
yeah,
you don't.
you look like a fucking fat chipmunk, mate. What the fuck are you talking about? Go fuck yourself. No one cares if you think Red's looks thin. Go do something.
And I mean, I don't know why he showed up. We didn't need him. We didn't need his money. We didn't.
Bullshit.
need him to
Okay,
stay in
pause
the
it.
room.
Pause it.
His mommy?
Oh,
What
no,
the
no,
fuck?
no. His money. Because
Oh,
here's
okay.
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. Bullshit, Sam. If it was not for Red working overtime, there were 3 people who would not have been there. Fiona wouldn't have been there. Hanazubi wouldn't have been there. And Cliffjumper would not have been there. So to say that Red's money wasn't needed shows just how fucking ignorant you are of the planning and everything that went into the event to begin with.
So you're saying that if Reds hadn't worked overtime, she would not have been there, and this person would not have been there.
Correct.
Yeah, being flown from the UK, if I remember correctly.
Both
Not just
of them.
a drive, flown from the UK to the US for the funeral. That's not cheap.
Yep.
So, yeah, fuck you. I mean, come on.
Right.
Yikes. Yeah, got that off my chest.
We didn't need the van that he ended up renting. We had plenty of other cars.
That's the thing. He was never showing up for you. This is the thing. You're talking about it as though we don't know why he showed up. We didn't need his company. We didn't need his money. We didn't need this from him. Yeah, he wasn't coming for you. He was going for Jade. So it doesn't really matter what the fuck you all wanted him to go for. I tried to go into this, as you can tell by the beginning of this video, I tried to go into this with a nice, civil, equal, fair, balanced mind frame. But I think that's gone at this point. I've come to my conclusion. I think I've spent like 2 hours on this one specific subject and I've got absolutely nowhere. So I'm just going to leave it there. I think ultimately there was something wrong on everyone's side of the Reds' red line, Red's rhetoric, whatever the fuck the situation is. I think there was problems on every side. You have Red's going to the funeral and not engaging with people, which causes tension. But Red's is within his complete, like, personal freedom to do so. If he doesn't want to
And he was
engage with
also
you, he
quite
doesn't. And
upset.
you have to respect that. You don't get to force him to engage with you. I feel like the way you've gone about this situation is just outright deceitful and bullying. It's like attacking, and I'm just not happy with it. I was really like on the side of let's just try to understand everyone. And I've just come to a point in which it's a whole group of people attacking Reds. Your whole Talk Shit Tuesday group is just talk shitting about Reds and attacking him, and that's just not cool to me. There's just no way you can act like you are some innocent fucking people in this situation when none of the evidence supports you. And Reds has provided me proof that he seemingly. Reds has seemingly provided me with proof that proves he has been paying his rent, he had fulfilled his obligations. So the accusations you make against him has been directly refuted, but you have nothing to back them up. And the only thing you have to back up is a voice recording which confirms what Red has been claiming. So I don't really know how I'm supposed to come to another conclusion other than these people are shitty people. Or at least in this regard.
Oh, no, it's
at
not
least
just that regard.
Relating to this
They are.
situation, they have behaved shittily.
Well, it seems.
So
Okay, pause it for a
that's
second.
my take on that.
Okay, it seems to me that they're attacking Red as a way to discredit Red and Steve over this whole scenario and situation.
Oh, they have. This group has had a hate boner for both Red and Steve ever since that group left, not got kicked out. They left the Great Debate community. When they left that group, they left it because they hated Steve and by extension hated Red, and they have not been able to let go of it for years.
Yeah, because they're no longer part of the cool crowd. That's it.
Yep.
They're not part of the popular crowd. They don't get the numbers Steve gets. They don't get the numbers non-sec got.
It's not so much it was the numbers, it's the fact that Steve, like, hey, let me make this YouTube channel for the GDC. It became so popular that he was able to monetize it.
Yep.
Now, I don't know Steve well enough to say that he would ever have considered, revenue sharing for those that did a show and he wasn't a part of it. He would have given them the revenue had there been super chats turned on and whatnot. But again, it's his channel regardless. He can run it how he wants to. If he chooses to monetize it when it's only him doing something and set up stream keys for other people when they need it and turn off monetization and turn off super chats, that's his call for his channel.
Yeah.
Now, so
here, I stand by the point that I make in the live chat, okay, which is, okay, yeah, Steve may not have been thinking clearly when he brought David Warden on. Okay, doesn't mean that he's making excuses for rapists. He's bringing the person on to talk about one of his expertises, which is First Amendment audits. It doesn't make Steve a rape apologist.
Nope. And if you notice, the people who were talking against Steve in that, they weren't talking about the subject as it related to Warden. They were just simply attacking Steve.
Oh yeah, and it's still going on.
Yep. But so
I'm watching a live chat.
Yeah, so something to remember with that group is I actually have it on very good authority. The reason why they are really pissed about the whole GDC thing and the whole channel issue is they did not want Steve profiting from their intellect and work. Here's a question. For those of us...
Impossible.
Well, it's not... It's not... In most cases, yes, it would be impossible. However, there are some of them who do have expertise in certain fields, and they would actually talk about those fields from time to time. But here's the thing. When I go onto Red's channel, and his channel is pulling in super chats and ad revenue and whatnot, I expect zero from it financially. When I would be on with Team Skeptic, same thing. I would expect nothing financially from being there. And just like when they would be here on my channel after it has been monetized, there is no expectation that they are here sharing their expertise and their knowledge for personal financial payment from the revenue of this channel. That's not how it works. That's not even close to how it would be. But for some reason, what they got butthurt over was, well, we were on these shows and we were on these panels and it was getting you these views, which was getting you revenue from through AdSense, because this was before super chats were a thing. So it was all based around the ad revenue and the view time and whatnot. So they were upset at that, and it's like, if you wanted to get money from YouTube for your intellect and everything, you could use your time on the GDC to establish a little bit of a following and then transition and make your own frickin' channel and do more routine stuff and get the revenue from there. and yet still sporadically reach out to a potentially larger audience base from time to time? Oh, you know, like every other streamer does?
Yeah, it's. I wish I had started YouTube long when the AdSense thresholds were a lot lower, but I have no expectation no matter what channel I go on, even if I was to go on to somebody's channel where they offered to pay me, I wouldn't have no expectation that they're actually going to pay me anything, short of having an actual written contract, in place. But
Yeah.
it boggles my mind when people have an expectation that what we're doing here is quote unquote work.
Now, there are some channels that are doing legitimate work with their channel and their presentation and everything. And
Well, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, Timcast and Tim Pool,
yeah,
for example,
the
Young Turks, for example,
Sinatra,
is a major.
Yeah, Sinatra Says, Steven Crowder, frickin' Raw Wrist, Undoomed.
By the way, if you like Sinatra Says, please go join his Patreon or at least send him a one-time donation, because his YouTube is still effed from Apocalypse 3, I think it is now.
Yeah, YouTube still has their sandpaper wrapped schlong deep inside him, and for no reason. They aren't even responding to his attempts to get some sort of communication.
You know what? That sounds like a good politics video to talk about.
Well, so we are.
I mean, I've already tackled National Socialists. I mean, what's the worst
why
YouTube's
not?
going to do to me?
Yeah, why not? All right. So with that, we are close to midnight, and I would like some bit of sleep before doing my third watch of the material for Kanar with Damar tomorrow, which is taking place in just over 16 hours. So yeah. Because see, here's the thing. This is something I want the people who are here watching either afterwards or are still watching us live right now. This is something I want you to know. When you guys, the audience, requested that we do actual full-on reviews of the material, the episodes, the movies, and whatnot, I make it a point to watch the material we will be reviewing at least 3 times before the episode to make sure my notes are in order, my talking points are straight, and that I didn't miss anything that may have been relevant for my view on it. I'm not just watching it for fun. Do I enjoy some of it? This week, yes. Couple weeks ago, no.
Well, you have fun with that, because I'm not going to be able to join you because I have to work because my boss doesn't know how to count weeks.
Who uses week numbers? Come on.
Every other week, though, how hard is that a concept to grasp?
Oh, yeah, true. I mean, but yeah, I've always hated when people use week numbers to,
it's called
express.
Business.
Just use dates.
Yeah.
I deal with frequently people who don't understand time zones, so whatever.
Yeah, but then again, you guys don't even know how to count to 24, so yeah, I'm kidding myself here.
Oh no, see, those of us on the panel can. Well, except maybe Big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, now they're calling Rum and Coke Night TST 2.0 in the live chat over there.
Except it's not, because...
Oh, no, here's the quote. Matthew McKinnon, at TomTom34B. Come on. For every science and philosophy video, there are a dozen videos about drama. Have you watched Rum and Coke Night? It's TST 2.0.
Yeah, except it's not, because...
And Steve responded to it directly. It isn't like TST, not even remotely so.
Yeah, they have integrity on Rum and Coke Night.
And his next response was, anyone that thinks my Rum and Coke Night is like TST is clearly all caps, the next two words, very confused.
Nice. But
Yeah.
all right. So anyone who wants to go watch that Anti-Ordinary video, enjoy. I will probably touch base on it some point later this weekend. Not right now because, I know it's going to be garbage. But yeah, Demi.
We're already at 68 minutes of it.
Holy, yeah. You know, I figured it was going to be over an hour.
Really
at
doesn't
her
bode
pacing.
well for him, in my opinion.
But anyways,
I want the viewers to bear in mind that we have another video.
Oh, sorry. I forgot that I had my audio going.
Demi,
you live and you learn.
Hang on. So Demi, if you come back and watch this part, which I will be doing sending something to you on Twitter. Love the video. Love what I've seen of it so far. Love your work. Keep giving them shit. Anyone else got anything you want to say before we call it a night?
Go watch my public apology video, please.
I will later.
Watched it earlier today.
What do you think of it, Jack?
You have no fucking clue about who we're talking about, the live stream thing. I'll put the link in there in the live chat so you can move over there if that's what you want to.
Thank you, Bo. And with that, go enjoy, show your support for Demi. And whether you agree with Steve and Red or not, at least support Demi and her bravery for actually trying to address the topic in the manner that she has chosen. In the meantime, we're going to go relax, and I will see all of you beautiful people the next time we're live tomorrow afternoon for Canar with Damar. We out.
Later.